The funeral was at sea, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Millionth Show. My name is James, joined once again by Henry and Tom. And today we are talking about The Spy Who Loved Me, released in 1977. Obviously, Roger Moore is back as Bond,
Yeah,
and we have a whole
franchises on
bunch
life
of
support.
really exciting ensemble, I think. I think The Spy Who Loved Me, just straight off the bat, is a bit of is probably going to be the most controversial episode we've recorded yet, because I know Tom has strong opinions about this film. I think Henry does as well, and
Yeah,
I do as well, and they're all like really spread out. As far as
yeah.
I'm aware, Tom, you really hate this film. I really like it. Henry sort of somewhere more towards doesn't like it. Am I right in thinking that with you
Well,
two?
I used to be in
I
that case, but go on, Tom.
I had I found myself debating whether I'd watched it less or more than For Your Eyes Only when I was watching it.
Your
I,
Eyes Only is a great film. What are you on about?
yeah,
Oh,
like we'll get into it. Like I don't.
I mean,
This
this is a film that I tends to avoid a lot.
Mhm.
But I think I've really done a 180 on it. Like,
Really?
yeah, I really like when I watched it again. I was like, I don't remember. Like, I didn't remember enjoying it like previously. But upon rewatching, I was just like, I managed to just enjoy this all the way through, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's great, really, because like with the previous two films, like it was a bit difficult for Roger Moore because half of the time, especially in the romance scenes, they still think they're working with Sean Connery. But with this,
Yeah.
they managed to play to all of his strengths. Like he's popping off one-liners, like there's so much stuff that like would not work in like any other Bond, but he manages to make it work in this, and it just goes really well. I think it doesn't feel like a
Yeah.
long film as well, and I think especially financially speaking, this definitely saved the franchise. So um, kudos to
Oh,
this
you
film.
think? All right.
Wow.
Well, this film for sure. Like, this is fully fledged Roger Moore. This is the first time. This is like, for me, actually, this is kind of the definitive Roger Moore Bond film, as well as maybe Moonraker. I
Mm.
think the two of them are just like, although actually, also Octopussy as well.
Yeah.
But I think
Definitely.
Octopussy isn't so. I loved. Well, I think we all love Octopussy, but it's not as action focused as this film is. This film is like,
Really?
yeah, this film has so much
This film has
like
a lot of stuff in it.
this
Like,
film has so much action in it. It's really well paced. It's really colorful. I think everyone's like it's a really interesting. It's so larger than life as well. I think there's so many elements that just work so well. There are others that don't. I think it's funny because this as a film, if you split up your typical Bond film into like the tropes that Bond is known for, especially Roger Moore Bond, you have certain factors, certain elements which can be good or bad. In this film, like everything is good, I think, except kind of two major areas, and that
mm.
would be the villain for me, and to an extent, the Bond girl as well. But that's kind of more on the face of it. If I mean, the villain, I think, is very like forgettable. Stromberg, very forgettable. Maybe the
Mm.
most forgettable Bond villain ever. But it doesn't really make a big difference in this film. I think if you had a great villain, it wouldn't have. Like, say you put Christopher Lee in this film, just for whatever reason, just because he's Christopher Lee, just so you have the name there, wouldn't make much of a difference.
Mm.
Um, and the Bond girl as well. Like, I'm not. It used to bother me because she's like obviously an American actress who's playing a Russian and makes no attempt at doing a Russian accent or being like Russian at all.
Mm.
So that takes me out. Used to take me out a bit, but now I'm kind of like, well, actually, she's not so bad. She's actually okay as well. So I don't know. I think, and then those are my two biggest criticisms of the film. Other than that, it's amazing. It's so
Mm.
good.
Yeah, yeah. I have to say, I'd probably agree on the villain front. Like Carl Stromberg. I mean, if you had to compare this film to any other one, it would probably have to be You Only Live Twice. I mean, plot wise.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
and like Donald Pleasance would easily like blow him out of the water. But I
yeah,
think I don't mind Carl Stromberg being kind of more in the not being so prominent in this because it allows everything else to shine more.
yeah.
Um, I mean, like his like kind of his like death in the film was like a massive afterthought, really. Like it kind of just happens and then you just kind of forget about it. But I don't really mind that so much. I mean, I like his role that he plays in the film, and he feels like kind of at home in it as well. Like as
That's
like
true.
more of this environmentalist kind of guy who's like just like kind of insane.
And
So
as well, the
he's
thing is with
David.
him is that I think most people know this film, and it's interesting. I think we're going to be repeating this a little bit with Moonraker, even though I think Drax is a good villain, um, because you have Jaws in this film and you have Jaws in Moonraker. I think he's the memorable sort of villain. When you think, oh, the villain from Spider-Man, you think of Jaws, really, and then Strong. Oh yeah, actually Stromberg is, but actually Jaws. And I think you're right. Actually, you know what? Now you've said that about Stromberg, maybe that does. Because he is forgettable, but you're right. I think that's kind of part of the point. He's like very understated, and then that allows everyone around him to just stand out even more. Um, if you had like a really iconic villain in this film, I think maybe it would be. It's a strange thing to say, but maybe it'd be a bit too crowded as well. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
had
maybe.
Christopher Walken in here, or like I said, Gert Frobe
Yeah.
or someone like that, it'd be a bit. Maybe it'd be a bit like too much. I don't know because everything is already so exaggerated in a way, so larger than life. Maybe I don't know.
Mm.
Well, go on,
So,
Tom. Well,
so
I
what do
know
you
you
think?
got some
Strom
strong, you got some shit to say, so this is your chance, man.
Stromberg is just David Attenborough off his meds. Like he's just he like sits at the table and you barely see him. Like you see, like, he doesn't really do anything. He just kind of he just I don't know. It's just he takes it, and then Anya Amasova just takes you out of it as well. Because not only does she not do any attempts to be like Russian or believable or anything, she's like monotone throughout the whole thing almost. Like, and it's just like you like what are you trying to prove? Like, it's just it's just like there is like some good action, but there's so many like dull points in it as well. Like when they just like when they're traveling through the desert in that flipping
Mm,
broken down van to
Mm.
flipping Disney music
yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
like just can you and the pacing is all over the place as well. Like when they're just feels like they're forever in Egypt and then like later like they're just like they're on the boat, right? And then like, oh, Stromberg outlines his plan, and then he just gets out, and then everything just falls apart immediately, like pretty much, like, and then like I don't know, just it's just the climax is over so quickly, and like it's terrible, and there's so many elements of this that are just stolen from like You Only Live Twice almost, and like there's so many like even like George Lazenby, they robbed him when it was his idea almost to do that Union Jack parachute thing. Like that was so cool. People wouldn't give him credit for that. I can see why he some say he's so bitter. Like they like people will give him crap, and then like
To be
his
fair,
idea.
back then they didn't have the budget to like the reason why they couldn't actually
Mhm.
do him skiing off a cliff is they literally didn't have like the um they didn't have like the resources to do it or the money. I mean there's a little more about that I have to say later on. But I mean also with Anya Amasova, like I don't like think I think she does like some I mean, although I guess she is a bit like kind of cold in this. I think that's kind of the point that like they're trying to like I guess that's how they imagine a Russian agent to be, like kind of distant in this case, especially
Yeah.
as she's literally working with a British agent as well. So
It's weird
and
because with Anya,
finds out that she's
she's very unconvincing in the role they give her. I mean, when I think of like Russian sort of, because it's weird. This is feels like the first attempt, like a real attempt at making an equal to Bond, like a female, a worthy sort of female equal to Bond, and um, I think they succeeded to an extent. But it. I'm not sure. I have really mixed feelings on her character. Really mixed feelings. There's a lot I really like about her. There's a lot that goes well for her because she's very different to all the Bond girls we've met so far. You know, she's very different. She's like the first of a new line of Bond girls in a way. I think
yeah.
she revolutionized what it meant to be a Bond girl.
I don't know.
Um, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's a weird one for me.
I mean
I'm
I
going to be
it's
interested to see
just
where we actually rank her. I do want to mention as well the fact that one of the reasons there's such a tonal shift in this film compared to, you know, this kind of starts off a whole new sort of wave of Bond in a way, right? And one of the reasons for that is because I watched a documentary about Spy Love Me before I watched this. Before this episode, and it was interesting for me. This is the first time that what's his name, Albert Broccoli, Cubby Broccoli, he had full rights to Bond from this film. Beforehand, it was Harry Saltzman and Broccoli. It was the two of them. Then Saltzman had some issues. He had to step away. Broccoli got full control and then got to really put his stamp. And this film was like really big for him because now it was like he was fully responsible and had nowhere to hide. And obviously, you know, the rest is history, and his family still hold the rights to Bond to this day. So I think the proof's in the pudding there.
Yeah.
But I think that's just interesting to mention, like how I didn't kind of realize that until this viewing. I watched this documentary and then I watched this film. And I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because this feels to me, The Spy Love Me feels like the biggest tentpole sort of Bond film since Goldfinger. I'm not saying it's the best Bond film since Goldfinger. It's not, but it feels like kind of the biggest, like, defining Bond film since Goldfinger. You know? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I can see what you mean. I mean, like you could almost call it like it's like kind of like a milestone one.
Yeah.
And as well, something with Anya, probably the best part about her character is that she kind of has this kind of one-upmanship with Bond. Like I don't know, like sometimes like nicks his puns, or like later on with like the Lotus, like I've seen the blueprints for this like 2 years ago, that sort of thing.
Yeah, panicking, yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing I really don't think ages well in this film is the music. Like,
I love the music.
The music's terrible. Like, it's like has the same kind of type of music as Fear Eyes Only as well. Like, it's just like this really dated, like, I don't even know what kind of music it is.
Of course, it's dated. That's the whole point of Bond.
But you have that with the Not for Kill as well. Like, there's a lot of like an electric guitar and that.
Yeah, there's this track. I'm gonna just because I've been listening to it since I
Bond
watched the film. It's just been Bond 77.
I really like that. Like when I first heard it, I was like,
obviously you know what we're talking about, and the audience as well. This is like, I love this tune, man.
You're gonna get us like struck for copyright,
No.
So dated.
Well, you have that plays during the.
I love it. During the ski chase at the beginning.
Yeah. And they bring it back
as well. This is one of the best openings of any Bond film. I think this as well. One of the best things about this film is how it really sets the tone for Bond openings. I think whether you like it or not, Tom, you have to admit the opening is just iconic, and it does start like a very just a whole string. From here, you've got the Moonraker opening, which is one of the best ever. You've got, I can't remember the opening for. Oh yeah, actually, let's not talk about it.
We got the Octopussy one.
Octopussy, just legendary. A View to a Kill.
Yeah. That credit goes
What's
to
View
like
to a Kill
those.
opening again?
View to a Kill is like with the helicopters.
Oh yeah! Oh, that's so good, man. And then you've got the Living Daylights as well. Like you've got like 5 out of 6 just top openings, and this starts it. Because we've been talking the last few episodes. I'm noticing the openings are really weak. We haven't actually had a good opening since probably.
Well, the Man with the Golden Gun was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, but it didn't have Bond in it.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had a really good opening since. I don't know. I mean, you've got this Majesty's Secret Service, but that opening wasn't. It was different. It wasn't action really. I mean,
you could really had action even since Goldfinger almost like.
Yeah, I think this. Yeah, since Goldfinger, and this might even be better than Goldfinger as well. We can rank the openings at the end. I'm so excited to talk about this.
Well, we'll talk about the opening itself before we're going to rank it again,
like, and one thing that one last thing before we get started, the song, like the theme song for it, just started this really bad trend of all these like slow-paced, forgettable mid-tier Bond songs that just like.
That's true.
Oh, like it's just terrible for me. Like, and it doesn't get fixed until you View to a Kill, and it's just
I agree with you there. Actually, I agree with you there. That's true. I never sort of noticed that until you said it now. That's a good point.
Yeah, you do make a good point with that.
I do want to mention for the gun barrel opening. This is the first time you see Bond do the gun barrel in a tuxedo. So, fun fact.
Yeah, he's got his like proper 70s trousers as well.
Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. In anticipation to this episode as well, before we watched the film, I made Tom and Henry, for all my Partridge fans out there, yeah, Alan Partridge, I made them to watch Never Say Alan Again. I'm obviously like a massive Partridge fan. You two know that. You've never seen Partridge until I made you two watch the episode, and it's all about like. But for people who don't know, if you don't know, get to know, man. Never Say Alan Again. It's series 2, episode 4 or 5. 4, okay. Of I'm Alan Partridge. Just watch that. I love that. And well, yeah, I know Tom, you kind of enjoyed it. Henry, you didn't so much. Like, I don't know. Like as a Bond fan and a Partridge fan, it kind of like when he goes, "Stop guessing Bond wrong," that's we've all been there.
It's like one of the biggest film franchises. Yet it feels like it's like you're talking about like the most niche thing ever. It's like,
yeah, maybe. But I don't know. I just want to like
size,
shout.
The fact that, like it's not really talked about much, which is a shame. But
I don't know. I mean, that for me is like this film, like the pop culture influence it's had, like bleeds into like Alan Partridge, bleeds into Peep Show. And that's why this film in particular is such a tentpole Bond film. Like Alan Partridge, this is his favorite. But I know it's niche, but Partridge fans who like will appreciate this, man. I know I'm like dropping Peep Show references every episode as well, but men of culture will know what I'm talking about, and that's what this podcast is all about. At the end of the day, this is like for people of culture. This isn't like your mainstream, like whatever, like normie opinions, man. This is like we're touching the nerve here, but like in a good way. So,
well, on to the intro at least.
Yeah, and actually, I need to send you. Yeah, anyway, whatever. All right, we'll move on from that. So yeah, okay. So we've had the gun barrel sequence. Then we've had okay. So then we have like
submarine.
Submarine. It just sets up the plot basically. We see Goggle as well.
Twice.
And by the way, this is like I realized this is like Goggle becomes like a key character from now on. He's like in every film until License to Kill, I think, right?
He's supposed to be in The Living Daylights, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I thought he was. Well, he's certainly in like all the next films, right? Like without fail.
Yeah,
I think
he is in all of them.
Which is so random. I always forget Goggle exists until I'm watching the film and he's there. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. Yeah. But he's just there. He just turns up. I don't know what the deal was there, man. But
I quite like that. He has a small role in it, but like I mean, he ends up like being a surprise at something later on. So
I think, like
in this film they use him to good effects. In future films, I don't think he's necessary.
Yeah, he's just kind of like there for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird because he doesn't bring much comedy or humor or like doesn't do much for the plot. He's just there. He's just like Russian M is here. You're like, oh okay.
Yeah, basically.
What are you doing here, mate? Oh.
One thing I do like give this film a little credit for is that it does like humanize Russians a little bit. Like it doesn't portray them
in the Cold War as well.
This was something that Ian Fleming was trying to do. He didn't think that like antagonizing them or whatever would have aged well politically. So he made like he made them he humanized them a bit, especially compared to other Cold War films. Like for instance, Anya has she has a boyfriend gets killed, she and then Gogo's like sympathetic to her. She's not like some sort of your orders are to kill this West
From Russia with Love.
Yeah, like it does.
If you think back to Rosa Klebb, that was very much kind of Russian stereotype, communist. Now it's like that's a really good point, Son.
Yeah,
that is really interesting.
I mean, he also,
particularly during the current climate.
Yeah, it was also his sincerest belief that the Cold War was actually going to end relatively soon after, while he was writing his books. So.
Although you wouldn't know that by watching Bond films, man. They drag out the Cold War to the 90s.
Yeah, man.
As far as they're concerned.
Exactly. They dragged it so long until like the actual USSR collapsed and they couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. No, that's a really interesting point, Tom.
And
I think what I like about Anya actually is that she's they made a lot of effort to actually flesh her character out and give her because Bond girls are so often fall into the trap of being one-dimensional, and Anya's very much like very much actually probably even like a three-dimensional character. They give her a lot of character development for what is, you know, a two-hour sort of Bond film. They give her a lot of like you say, the killer boyfriend. They have her as being like one of the best agents in the KGB, and you know, being an equivalent to Bond, and then you know she falls in love with Bond, and then there's a plot twist where you know she discovers that Bond killed her lover, and then she promises to kill Bond, and then at the end, you know, I I really like that. That whole thing going through the film is like really good, and it's so unorthodox for what you have from what we've seen from Bond girls so far. Who just there to, you know, be eye candy and that's it. You know, like literally have nothing more to play. You know, this is a genuine character who actually brings something to the film rather than just being a plot instrument.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
Well, that would help. Like, sorry, but like that would help if she was more believable in the role. Like, the character is good, but
Yeah.
the delivery is not good.
yeah.
if you could have put what's her name, I'm going to butcher her name now, Famke Janssen, whatever, in GoldenEye. If you could put her in a time machine and put her in this film as Anya, boy, you'd have
Yeah,
a
that
different
would be
film on your
perfect.
hands. That would have been amazing, you know. Like she's for me, like when I even think of Russian girl, that is my image straight away. Her in GoldenEye. I mean, you know, I'm going way off into the future, but still, like,
Yeah, exactly. Well,
yeah.
I mean, this might even be like somewhat controversial to bring up, but one thing that with Amasova that is better than even with Tracy is the fact that Tracy and Bond's kind of like arc slash like kind of relationship is kind of like the conflict between them and all that is like kind of sorted half an hour into the film, and then it just remains kind of the same throughout. In this, like it's like it like goes up and down like all over the place. I mean, it literally changes like constantly, you know, like from, I
Yeah.
mean, like we'll literally have it as we go throughout the film. But I mean, in this opening, like, so they just basically, it's kind of like a You Only Live Twice situation. Like they, yeah, the two, like, is it a British or it's an American and a Russian Navy vessel that goes missing, or it's a British one instead of the
It's
American? It
It's a
must be
yeah,
the
it's weird
British
Russian
because
because the
and an
Americans
no,
have
English
they
one.
are. They're
Yeah, they are
definitely
British.
English.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
weird,
because
isn't
the
it? Yeah,
American
now you
one is the
mention it.
one
Yeah,
that's the
because there are
third.
Americans
Yeah.
later, and then there's Russians later.
The Russian,
Definitely an English one though. Yeah, at the
yeah,
beginning, because they're playing chess and stuff.
yeah, yeah, and it's their teacups that are moving
Yeah,
about.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
um,
this is
the problem is, I mean, and this is where you get okay. You got a serious character, and then her name is Agent Triple X. Like,
yeah. Like, who thought of that? Like, honestly,
I think that's as obvious as it is. I
it's
think
memorable. Yeah,
that's kind of like it's forgivable in this film because it's Roger Moore now, and it's like proper Roger Moore. And I think these tongue-in-cheek things they're going to crop up a lot from now on, and they're much more. I think they find their place here. That's not too over the top in a way. It's like Agent Triple X. When the Russian guy says it, Agent Triple X, it's kind of like okay, they've said it so seriously and it's so tongue-in-cheek that it kind of works, and they don't overdo it either.
it's almost like they're doing it so seriously. It's kind of funny.
It's not, and this feels a lot like a lot better done than Pussy Galore or Good Night or you know Plenty O'Toole. That's just kind of like
Yeah,
almost
that's
like
like taking the piss, really.
But
yeah,
we
it's
get
almost like vulgar, man. It's almost like come on, you know. So,
It's
he's
like, I don't
serious.
want to be saying
Agent
pussy
Triple X is
galore,
just hits the right note there. I think you know. Where it's like okay, I see what you did there.
we
fair
see
enough.
what's going on, you know.
And they don't overdo it, which is good. I think they might repeat it twice or three. I don't know, but it's
and then
not too.
later we get Octopussy.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good point. But anyway, so yeah, we and by the way, Anya Amasova's boyfriend has the hairiest back I've ever seen, man. Just want to shout that out. But anyway, but I think that's really cool. Imagine being in the cinema for this, right? And then you see, you know, it's like, oh yeah, I really like it already like from the get go. It's already kind of expect the unexpected a little bit because with this character, because you know he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to call my best agent, and then it pans over to Anya and her boyfriend, and they're in bed, and you see them, and you assume straight this guy almost looks like George Lazenby, and he's English as well. He's got an English voice.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
what?
These
These guys aren't Russians, man. Don't like. Why are you even
Yeah,
pretending? But
true.
anyway.
Yeah, I know it's with him. Like, I mean, I've seen.
It's like, oh yes, I'm off for
before.
to the Jolly Roger pub now for a pint of lager. Oh,
Yeah.
it's like so. Anyway, and then
Probably
so
wasn't.
then obviously it's like I'm going to call my best agent, and you think it's this guy, and then she answers the phone. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like if you go into like an opening of a Bond film, there's just like a guy and a girl in bed. Like you immediately assume the other guy may or may not be Bond. It's just like, all right, then it's just this other supposedly Russian agent who's popping off for a cup of not tea.
To be fair, we already had like James Bond versus his equal basically in the other
We've
film.
had it like 5 times.
The man with the golden gun. Yeah, but that especially, so I don't think we could rehash
I mean,
it.
I know they can't put Goggle in bed with her, man, but at least get someone like Russian looking and sounding, and it's like at least convince me for a little bit, man.
Well,
But
the
whatever.
guy's in the film for like 2 seconds, so who cares?
True. But still, I mean, fuck, man. I've watched this film so many times. I didn't notice that the first time, that's for sure. But still. Anyway, then we get to Bond, and yes, he's with a lady. He's necking with her,
Yes.
and we get the straight away a Sigma moment to
Yeah.
end all Sigmas, man.
Yeah, because because M. Yeah, this is where the M tells him to tells Moneypain to send him a message to get the fuck out and
to pull out.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got his watch, which is a nice little gadget. Like he's basically getting I don't know, SMS from I assume Moneypenny's sending it. You gotta piss off down this mountain or something. Like his mission in Austria, which is very well defined. Was it looks more like just go on holiday, mate. But yeah, you can say the line, James.
Well, she's obviously there, like this beautiful blonde. She's there on the floor, like, oh, where are you going? And it's like, he says, I'm off, whatever. And she's like, oh, but I need you. So does England.
Yeah, you've even got the little the little note as well.
Little trumpet, man. Oh,
not
trumpet.
It's
mouth organ. That is,
yeah. It's like anyone else could not have pulled that off, but it's so. It's just it gives you a big grin,
So good. I love it when Bond gets patriotic, man. I love that, and that. Yeah, you're right. That subtle music cue. It's so good, man.
It's like with anyone else, kind of would have been cringeworthy, but in this, just right.
It's like from a '60s World War II movie, man. And you just got it, just a little. Oh, it's so beautifully done.
He's in his full colorful skiing gear as well. He's just about to pop out.
It's so good, and then he embarks on this ski chase, and we've had lots of Bond ski chases, and we have many to come. This is right up there, man. I love. I know Tom, you've already touched it. You don't. For me, actually, I don't think I liked the music so much when I was younger. But as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate it, and now I love it, man. I'm rocking out. It's kind of the best part almost of the. I mean, you've obviously got one of the most iconic stunts in film history. I would probably go so far as to say,
which takes you out of it. Yeah, I'm sorry, but they put the cringiest sound effect over him back flipping over this ramp or whatever, and it's like
it's a little bit over the top, but I still don't mind it.
It's it's just
that's a cool stunt though.
Yeah, true.
And then
imagine
totally
being in the cinema
so
in
cool,
1977. You watch Bond do a backflip and shoot someone with a fucking ski pole.
Yeah.
Like that, it's not like it's a slide whistle from the previous film,
Yeah. That's what I first thought of. I'm like, yeah, that was over the top. It's just a little whoosh, It's like, it's okay. It's Roger Moore,
Yeah.
But I think this ski chase is so cool.
I like how he shoots the gun. You get a nice quick zoom in on his face. By the way, that's her boyfriend, right?
And it's funny because I don't know about you, but it took me so many viewing because it makes a point of showing you this guy's face, and even though you can't really see his face and you don't know who it is, you're like, what the fuck was that? It's kind of just enough so you remember it later on when they reference it later. But it was always a bit confusing for me why that was there. You can't see the guy's face. You don't know who it is. I didn't anyway. I don't know about you. It was never obvious to me who that was until a lot later.
Never was to me either.
When we were kids, we were watching this. Obviously, it'd probably fly over our heads. So
yeah. I just love the music, man. It's so weird and wacky, man. It's so I mean, it's not 80s because this is in 77, but it feels like pre-80s. Just I love it. I love it, man.
But I like the build up when it's it like pans out and you can see like he's just
Yeah,
about
it's
to go
like
off the cliff.
and then just silence.
Yeah, exactly. Like whoever had the
Oh,
idea to just like not have any
oh,
music for that bit, and then obviously,
it's just
but like
oh
it's such a long fall as well. Like he doesn't
yeah,
immediately like he just pulls out the parachute of the Union Jack and then bombs it.
yeah,
He's like just straight off. And the
yeah,
thing was with
and
that
the
is,
James Bond theme as well, man.
yeah,
Oh, it just doesn't get better than that. It just does not get better than that.
yeah. I
Wow.
mean, props to George Lazenby for the idea, but like the reason, I mean, they certainly couldn't have done this back when they filmed it, when they filmed it on the Majesty's Secret Service, because the jump. I mean, I assume the skiing bit was filmed in Austria, but the jump was filmed in Antarctica. Like they had to go down there to do it.
No, it's
And
filmed in Canada, I think.
Canada? Well,
Yeah.
it was one of those two.
Maybe the jumper was Canadian actually, but I think
Like it might have been, I might be getting like Arctic mixed up with Arctic Circle thing. Either way, they had to go somewhere pretty remote to do this. Like,
what
because
about the ice wall, Henry? It's an ice wall.
yeah, they skied off the ice wall. Yeah, that's actually in the film. Um, but like, it was a 3,000 foot drop, I think, and they genuinely said to the guy doing the stunt, like
Yeah.
because there's so many things that could go wrong with it. Like, it was just generally possibly lethal. Like they said, like you don't have to do this stunt. Like we could just pack up and leave because they were like seriously fearing for this guy's life.
Yeah.
If he died, film probably wouldn't get released or something along those lines. Um, but he went and did it, and rest
Uh,
is history.
yeah, I can confirm it was filmed in Canada. I was right there. And it's funny. I was watching the documentary of how they did the stunt, and like there was 7 cameras filming it at the same time from the helicopter and stuff. And like the first camera missed him, second one, the third one just got the perfect shot, just like, and it zoomed in on him and stuff as well. And just the intelligence to have no music there as well. It's just.
Mm.
And the way the music built up and everything built up, it was just. And then even at the end, you got the little like close up of Roger Moore as if he just did
Yeah,
the stuff.
exactly. It's
I
just like,
love it. It
yeah,
was
just to
perfect.
remind you. By the way, this I know you like this stunt, but it's meant to be Roger Moore. Remember,
Yeah.
They
And
used to
then you
got it from
just
a
got
distance.
clang, clang a lang a lang a lang a lang a lang,
Yeah,
clang a lang.
I hate Archer's impression of it. Like, just
I love it. I
Well,
love it.
it's a good impression if you think about it, because the song's so bad.
Nobody's
It just kind of,
Oh,
just
got a
kind of,
bush.
yeah, it just so slow and so like dreary and so like pace,
I
so
don't
like
think it's
No,
bad,
I think
but it's
it's
not
not
like
that bad. I
it could have.
feel you. It is. It's not like it's certainly not Shirley Bassey.
It's not a Bond like song, but it's not bad in and of
Yeah,
itself.
it's
And
got
especially
energy
they
in it.
use it
When
later
you get
on.
when the trumpets come out and stuff, and you're like heaven above me, the spy love me. It's like it does get into like a rhythm.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. It's what its influence isn't good. I think the song alone is not bad, but it does set the tone. The next few are very like pretty piss poor.
Yeah.
But this one's good. This one's
I
okay.
think. I mean,
it's like worse than every other Bond like song if you think I can't really one with
Mhm.
that has like words in it. They're always better than this one. Like they're more memorable, they have more energy, they're more like they're just good in their own right. And this film just isn't. This
Do you
song
know?
isn't.
may I just
Do you
like
know what I think helps this Bond song? The opening sequence that it comes off the back of.
yeah. Go
Like the fact that it's like the hands catch the sort of parachuting thing, and it's just like no. It's kind of just synonymous with that
Yeah.
high that you've just seen. Maybe there is a bit of that at
I
play
mean,
as
yeah. To
well.
be
I don't
fair,
know.
if they had an action theme after this, it might probably have like
Yeah,
not gelled so well. Like you need
mm.
to like like calm down a bit after
You couldn't
watching.
have Live and Let Die after that, could you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think with Bond films and their songs generally, and the soundtrack. I mean, the best example I can think of for this is with On a Majesty's Secret Service, because you have the theme of it, which is
Mhm.
obviously the main title song, and then you have We Have All the Time in the World. Like, there's kind of the love
Mm.
song of the film, which also serves as much the soundtrack as well. And the same thing with like there's an action theme for the film as well. Whether or not
Mm.
that's the Bond theme, it's different. Um, but in this, I think they decided to use rather than just do like Bond 77, but in a different style for this. I think it might have been a better idea to go with a slower song that's kind of like kind of like the love song of the film.
I
Um,
don't think that was a conscious decision though. That just happens to like fall like that, and because it's
I
that's
mean,
just like how you interpret it, kind of. Like I don't think that was like a conscious.
Well, I mean, it probably. I think it must have been some sort of decision they made because if you're like making a film, you're intentionally like you're trying to think of like how the audience is going to like react to certain things and how they feel about certain things. So, I mean, and you can't make a 2 hour film where like they're constantly on like a high of action. Like you have to like space it out a bit.
They do it a lot in.
And
They do it.
in fairness, because we are like we are starting on a vein of really good opening sequences, followed by really low key title songs. So maybe there is something to that actually.
Maybe.
Well, that doesn't give an excuse because
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not.
you get
We won't necessarily put this like song at the very top, you know, for
No,
like
no,
no reason.
definitely not.
So
But anyway,
like,
let's move on because we're
we'll
like,
get
yeah,
to that.
it's performed by Carly Simon as well, just to shout her out there.
Yeah.
Now, um, now we're back. Oh yeah, and it ends on like the most 80s synth ever, man, which just like fades into Goggles' office as well.
it's
And
like it's so over the top and
I love
takes
it.
me.
I love
It's
that, man.
cringeworthy. Like
I
it's
don't know, I
like
think it's the same thing with like with the Bond 77 in terms of like
Yeah,
how the
you have to
music is
embrace
like
it. You
it
have to
might
roll with
it's
it,
not
man.
for
Yeah.
everyone, I think maybe because of the but if you don't mind a bit of
Yeah,
like
because I initially didn't like it. I was rejecting it, but then I'm like, nah, embrace it, man. Just enjoy it, man. I don't know. Anyway, so Goggles in his office, his huge office, by the way, which was deliberately designed to contrast M's. He briefs Agent Triple X, lets her know that her boyfriend's dead.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, and
But, like
she,
he
she,
actually
she,
means it, you can tell.
and
Like
yeah, and like you said, Tom, it's very humanizing. It's very like he shows genuine compassion there. Like not like M. Man. M doesn't give a fuck. When Bond's like
yeah, literally.
wife's just been like
Please let us die,
shot like in front of him, man. M's like, yeah, bloody more fish in this. Not even that. He's just like, yeah, piss off 007, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then Bond goes and meets.
Well,
Bond
the
goes.
thing is, one thing I
Go
just
on,
want to
sorry.
say with this is, she like literally says like the last line of the scene is like, oh, I
Mm,
just want to find and kill the man who did this, and it's kind of like because it like in the middle of her sentence it cuts to
yeah.
Roger Moore, and it's like it's kind of like he's like so like gentlemanly that you almost it's like almost kind of like yeah man like it's like slightly amusing to me like if it was Sean Connery like like he's kind of like more like chiseled kind of like
Mm.
you know, kind of like he will kill anyone. Like look, um, maybe it would have felt a bit different, but either way, they obviously have to work with what they have. So it's not bad, is what I'm saying. It's just
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that? It's just occurred to me. This is the first and maybe only time in the entire franchise where one of Bond's uh, kills actually has some sort of consequence for him. Because I think a lot of people like criticize Bond because it's like, oh well, you never see the consequences, you never see the broken bones or the bruises, or whatever. It's like, it's all so easy for him. That's not realistic. That's not real life. And like, yeah, there is a degree of element, but it's a film. Like, what do you expect, man?
Yeah,
But um,
but that's
it
not
is
re-
interesting to actually consider the fact that this is like just run of the mill sort of Bond execution, which you just get so used to, you forget he's actually like an assassin. It's like he's so charming and stuff. You just like, oh yeah, that's what he does, and he's just dispatching people left, right, center, and particularly in the scene which he does, it's just like some run of the mill Russian guy, like yeah,
yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
kill
It's like
him,
5 seconds.
and then it's actually, oh no, actually no, this was someone's lover, this was like a human being, and it has affected someone's life, and that has a consequence. And that's quite interesting. I mean, I know it's a Roger Moore Bond film, so it's not really like hitting deep levels like deliberately, but that is quite a deep thing to like think about actually.
Mm.
I guess. So anyway, um, so Bond then goes and meets the crew, like literally, because he's in his like naval outfit that some Bond fans get hard on for.
Yeah,
Um,
literally. Like there are
you
some
know,
fans who are like, oh, he's in the navy. Like
he's
fair.
wearing a
Yeah, yeah. If you're
oh,
interested in ships and the navy,
meh. Yeah, exactly.
but
Fucking
like
sailors, man. Whatever. And he meets like everyone is there, man. Like
yeah,
literally like
including the
all the
future
familiar
M.
face, all the oldest faces you've ever seen. Q's there. And it confused me for a moment because I thought M was there, but it's not M.
It's
And
the
Tom,
M.
you had
It's
something to
M
say
for
about
the
that, right?
future. Like. Oh, I mean the guy who plays the next M. So
Yeah.
he's
yeah.
there,
He's
but he's not. He's Admiral Hargreaves. So
But does he? And my question is he playing? Does he get promoted to M? Is he the
Yeah,
same
that's
character
a
that
question that some
becomes
people
him?
ask, but
I think so. Like, I mean, the way he acts is like very. I don't know. I don't know. It makes more sense to them rather than like to think because wasn't M also in the Navy before like
yeah,
Bernard Lee?
Bond too.
So
Yeah,
like yeah, I think it
And
makes sense.
yeah, maybe
and begs
Money
the
Neal is also
question.
like a naval gunner.
Begs the question. General Gogol, because that actor was around in From Russia with Love, right? Is
Yeah,
that the
he's
same
worked with
character?
boats too.
He goes by a different name, but could just be a KGB code name, right?
Yeah, a
Well,
convenient coincidence, you could say.
is flipping Andrea whatever Andrea I forgot her surname, but like Maud Adams is she the same character in Mother Gone Gunner's Octopussy? Like
Oh well,
she
no,
just
because she dies. Like they literally kill
Yeah,
her.
literally.
maybe
But Gogol,
Yeah,
it's all
like
maybe
maybe.
she got in touch with what's his name? The guy on the front of the train. How have I actually forgotten him? The guy who
Oh,
rises
Baron
from the dead.
Samedi.
Yeah, he got in touch with him, and then ends up becoming a multi-millionaire with all of her life knowledge.
I think Tom's right though. Maybe I'm reading a bit too much into it. We've been having too many films with multiverses and shit these days, man. It's
Yeah,
like fucking with
exactly.
us. Everything's got to
You
be
just
canon
can't
now.
just cast the
No,
same to do something else. Like,
although I don't care. Blade Runner shares a universe with Alien. I don't care, man. What
yeah,
anyone
I
says.
mean, like to be fair, if we shared that attitude, imagine with Shane Rimmerman. He's like,
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
like,
yeah.
he's
That's what I
cast
was
as
thinking
shit.
about when Tom said that. I was like, yeah, he's got a point there actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, what makes me laugh about this scene because they bring out this screen, and that was probably like for the time the most high tech screen whatever. It
Yeah,
like
that's
comes out,
just
it's
like
got
a
all the
school
sound effects and stuff, and
PowerPoint.
it's like whoa, whoa, and you're like whoa, look at this, like that must have been the height of technology back then, man. But anyway, and Q gets to do his usual condescending, highbrow sort of stuff as well, which is
Yeah,
always
they're
fun.
like, oh, yeah, they can't track on nuclear submarines. Actually, you can with just a
Yeah,
microwave, like,
Q is that guy, man.
yeah.
I
Anyway,
Well,
like
we're developing one right now.
I like how he just kind of I feel so deliberately acted when he does that. He's like waving
oh
his
yeah,
nose around when
oh I
speaking,
loved
and
it.
it's yeah.
Now, we get to meet Stromberg, and he does make quite the first impression
Yeah.
for a villain, to be fair. That is what's quite good about him. Maybe I was a bit harsh on him at the beginning because, like, my general, this guy's so forgettable, but actually, he's got a lot, he's very resourceful,
I mean,
and,
throughout this whole film, he never loses his temper, really. Like, he doesn't go, like,
he's
off the
threatening
rails.
without being physically imposing, he's very, like, very low key, but he's got all the bells and whistles, and, we see that demonstrated here. So I mean, we obviously get a good. This is kind of just like he's got his webbed hands, which is just
Cringe
that's
inducing.
not over the top. Yeah, it's like okay.
And then
Um,
he's
Yeah, I actually completely never, like, noticed that. So I think you mention it sometimes, but I, like, just kind of, like, delete it from my brain, so I don't really notice.
yeah. Well, it's like Marge Simpson supposedly has webbed toes, but anyway.
Yeah.
And anyway, so then yeah, so he meets these two chaps who have been helping him out on a project. And then there's this girl that he's
Yeah,
having
10
dinner
years.
with, and he's like, "Oh yeah, could you just excuse us? It wouldn't be ladylike, whatever." And
Yeah.
then like yeah, because he's like, "Yeah, someone's been selling secrets, and then bang, like,
Yeah, it's
and
got, like,
it's
the
great
lift which
fake out because
opens.
you think it's them two, and then it's actually her, and he flushes her into the shark tank to the tune of Johann Sebastian Bach, "Air
Yeah,
on G String," which
yeah.
is also played. Henry, do you know in what film?
A lot of films, actually, but which one are you thinking of?
Seven, in the library scene, man.
Hmm.
Which is like, as
Whenever this is
regular
played in a
listeners will
film.
know, is my favorite film of all time,
Yeah.
as well as Blade Runner 7, man. The library scene when that song is going, oh man, it's just beautiful, and it's
Whenever this song is played in any film, you know shit's about to happen, or
yeah.
like something's going wrong.
I really like the use of classical music in this film, and it's always with Stromberg's
Hmm.
character. He
it's
doesn't have a
always
villain theme; he's just got classical music, which
it's
I quite
again
like.
reflects his character, doesn't it?
it's always I mean that's the only good music of the scene which of
Hmm.
the film I think because they just go back to basics and doesn't well not basics, it's just timeless music that doesn't age
Hmm.
badly. And when we had that Bond book, like because he
Mhm.
brings in Sanders and Jaws, like
Yeah.
because he like there was no picture of like Stromberg in the book in the Spy Love Me
Oh, really?
section, so
Wow.
like yeah, that's how forgettable he was. So
Well,
like I was like stood there, sat there reading it once, just staring at it, trying to figure out who the main villain was. And since I'd already seen Moonraker, but not Spy Love Me, like I didn't know, like I knew Jaws was not the main villain; he's just a henchman. But like I saw the Sanders guy stood next to him, I thought he was the main villain. And I was like, but it
I mean, you
couldn't
can
be more
even
than
like, I mean, you can even compare in like, for example, in From Russia with Love. Technically, Blofeld's the main villain in that, but really, the people you see most on the screen, um, are also kind of like, they're the main focus of the film as kind of, threats to Bond. Um, and Stromberg is obviously not going to have a fist fight with Bond in his old age. Like the best he can do is just sit at the end of the table. And the one thing I do like with this as well is like the design of his room. I quite like as well. It's got like, I mean, all these paintings, and then you have like they turn into like TV screens for the outside, and his Shark Tank. So you can see live executions and that, which is quite sick if you think about it. Um, and I think probably this might have been a note from they might have taken from Doctor No, but now they can actually afford a table this size. They got like the longest table known to mankind. Like, so he sits at one end, and like whoever he's talking to is just this massive distance away from him. Like, I don't know if that's meant to. This is just me reading into it probably, but I don't get the idea that he likes people very much at all. Like,
You'd
Oh
say
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of despises
you
humanity in
well,
general.
he says he's a recluse at one point,
yeah.
and then
A true Sigma.
and you
He's a
wouldn't be able
true cell, man.
you wouldn't be able to like even hear him from the other end of that table probably, and they're like,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. They don't need to hear anything. They just need to be shot.
I do like his character though. I mean, within the first, time of meeting him, you're just getting to know, and so he kills his secretary, whatever, like in brutal fashion, man. Like feeds us to the sharks, literally, and then these two chaps run off like they're like happy as, and they're like,
Yeah, they
yeah, we've
think they're
done
gonna
it.
get like dropped in the lift as well, but then they're
Yeah,
just like,
yeah, and
oh,
they like, yeah, the fake out is great because they're like, oh, what's gonna happen now? And then obviously, oh, by the way, I would take the stairs or
yeah. There's
whatever. I would
literally like that
never go in
bullshit
that
where like
lift.
in
You're
Diamonds Are
crazy.
Forever, where Blofeld like says to him, "Oh, well, it's just a normal lift, Bond." I'm like,
Huh.
sure thing, mate. Like that, and like no one was gonna believe. They'd be like, "Yeah, I'll take the stairs, thanks." I'll
Bit of an
jump out of the.
underrated element within Bond films now that I think about it, because I always think about train fights and ski chases, and shit. But now I'm like,
Lift.
the lifts, man. Lifts play a big part in Bond films, don't they? You've got the one in Diamonds Are Forever. You've got like that weird one in The Man with the Golden Gun, in Scaramouche's base. You've got like A View to a Kill. You've got Casino Royale, man. Like
Oh,
lifts play a huge
you've
part,
actually
actually.
got the one in on a Majesty's Secret Service, which he hides in for like five
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah.
I mean, the thing is though, in cinema, though, like a lift fight or like just using a lift because it's a confined space is just convenient. So
I suppose, yeah, but it kind of never really struck me with Bond until now, like the lift thing. Anyway,
yeah. I mean, yeah,
um,
these guys are like, oh yeah, we're going off on a helicopter, they're shaking hands,
yeah,
like he just does like the classic
yeah,
villain thing. He just looks at the TV screen, blows them up,
yeah,
like, and he's like, well, and then the next thing he just like rings someone up, be like, yeah, cancel that payment of $20 million,
yeah.
that's
Quite
it.
Sigma, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I like
Do you think? Yeah, I mean, do you think he killed them because he just didn't want to shell out the money, or did you also suspect them of selling secrets? Selling
I
secrets.
think I think it was just because he didn't want to shell out for them.
Yeah, I
Like,
get that impression as well.
maybe it's a bit of
Atlantis
both
must be a
as
hard
well.
place, expensive place to run, man. 20 million goes a
Yeah,
long way, man.
there's a reason he's like one of the richest people in the world. Just don't
Yeah,
hemorrhage money like that.
true, true. And then obviously, like you say, Tommy, he brings in Jaws and Sandor.
Shandor.
Sandor, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always thought it
um,
was Sanders, but apparently not.
yeah. I thought it was something completely different last night. I was like
Thought it was Bob.
Chambers or something. I don't know. But yeah, Jaws. Let's take a
Yeah,
moment to talk about Jaws and Richard Kidd.
yeah.
Well,
Like the
I
thing
mean,
is like you contrast Jaws, and it just looks like a guy you got from a construction site next to him. Like
yeah. But oh man, like Jaws is just one of like the like I don't know this like the most used word on this podcast, man. But the
iconic.
iconic like henchman, man. Like this is just something else, man. 7 foot plus,
Too.
and obviously he's just like
Played
just
by Richard Keel. Yeah.
so memorable. Yeah, Richard Kiel, man. Like
I mean,
wow.
I think that this must have been trivia from that Bond book, but you all know, like, he actually, I mean, he couldn't do scenes for like
Yeah.
extended amounts of time, because the metal teeth was actually, I think it was like orange peel like wrapped in
Yeah.
tinfoil.
No, that was for the stuntman. Actually, I think
Oh.
that was for his stuntman, his stunt double. But Richard Kill actually wore some sort of metal braces. So yeah.
Right, Jaws is like one of the only like he's like the one standout thing in a good way to me in this film.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, because I've always thought Hugo Drax is just like Stromberg but done better in almost every way. The one thing like what Stromberg has over Hugo Drax though is like Jaws actually obeys him, whereas he just like disobeys Hugo Drax to his face eventually, which is quite funny. But
Well, Jaws is a little bit more on the line there, so
yeah,
yeah.
he feels more like an independent force in this film, kind of like he
Well,
just
he is
kind
effectively. He's like a gun for hire. He's a mercenary, effectively,
yeah.
right? He's just like, you open up Yellow Pages looking for
Yeah,
henchmen.
literally.
Jaws is like top advert,
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's like
They do
rated
that. They do that
5-star,
in Hugo.
like
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, they come back to the Moonraker. Anyway, so now we get Bond in Egypt. As you do.
in Cairo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, yeah, not his first time.
Yes,
And
of
he
course.
meets his old chum from school, school days and stuff,
Yeah,
and they're like,
literally, like,
jolly good, 007.
yeah, because like at the
Yeah.
beginning, like he's like made like the piece of Allah, like
Mm,
something to do with like turn up on this tent, and
Yeah,
then he's like,
James Bond.
oh well, if this piece of shit tent is good enough for you, and then they're both like they just like both revert to like they're like
yeah,
because they're actually mates, it turns out. Because I was like that was kind of almost tense, like this guy's like thinks he's
mm,
like fobbing him off, then you realize it's like, oh James, man, I haven't seen you since
yeah,
Cambridge or something, and then it's
yeah,
like it's just like, oh, all right, it's actually fine.
yeah. Oh yeah, I heard you got married. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like yeah. There's the problem. The one thing that does take me out this side is like this guy. He must be like hiding from the authorities. He's breaking like every like Sharia law rule like in the book, man. Yeah, he's got
Yeah,
alcohol. He's got like the women there like
yeah, like,
David
yeah,
say, and
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he like does
Maybe
like
he converted to his. Oh yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's like original top G man, I guess. Anyway, anyway, this scene's great. Obviously, it climaxes with like pretty great like Roger Moore. Well, when one is in Egypt, one must delve deeply into its treasures. It's just one of those moments. So anyway, it's just one of those plot things. Bond goes from A to B. He goes to go and meet Fakesh, and as he does so, meets another beautiful lady. Bond's body count in this film is insane, by the way, man. Like he's already on. Actually, I mean, he doesn't bang her, but like, I don't know. He meets this lady who's like, there to hold him up while Sandor tries to kill him.
hmm.
Instead, he has a fight with Sandor. So pretty
Yeah, she like
short-lived.
human shields herself, right? Like, or is it him? I can't really
Yeah,
tell.
yeah. That's weird, isn't it? Because she kind of like, does she get guilty or whatever? Or I don't know. Like,
The thing is, it's like I don't think Roger Moore would use her as a human shield,
yeah.
but
Didn't he already
maybe,
do that with some? Oh no, it's Sean Connery. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like,
it's like a rehash of the Goldfinger thing a bit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, because Shandor, like, I wouldn't imagine he's like, because he's kind of almost meant to be kind of like a pushover, mostly just to kind of like big up Jaws even more.
Very scary when you see him like looking through the
Yeah, true.
grill. Because
Although,
like I don't know what it is about the actor, like the guy himself. He's like the definition of like a meathead. Like I don't know what it is about he's so stocky and chunky, and his head is like a block. Like I don't know what it is. It's like
goes catching
so
strays, man. What the fuck?
so thick. Like he's pure like muscle and like gristle or whatever. I don't know what he is, man. And like
This
his
guy,
eyes are so like bulging and watery and shit, man. When you see them through that grate, it's like, oh, it's like
yeah,
quite scary, man.
yeah, exactly. We need to reference Zep every time you see someone looking
Oh
through like
yeah.
with their eye. But anyway, um, yeah, maybe he's just a bad shot, or maybe he's like heard that she's like not on their side anymore, so he's like, "Oh, shoot her, I'll beat the shit out of Bond," because that'll
Yeah.
definitely work.
Yeah.
Just like his fight as well with him like gives shades of like in a little way, like with the sumo wrestlers when they try to like crush him to death, like.
Oh yeah,
But the-
that fight wasn't so great.
Yeah.
The end of it's cool though, because obviously he's hanging
Yeah.
on by Bond's tie, which is like pretty unique way to,
Mm.
it's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it's like,
Um,
like where is Vikesh,
Yeah.
like.
And we get this really
good.
this really unnecessary like slow scene where they're at some weird like night viewing of like these
Hey, hey,
ruins or
What, the
whatever.
pyramids? No, I love
hold
that,
on,
man.
hold on. You completely, got rid of the one-liner. He just like he tells him where he is, just like
Mhm.
knocks him off basically, and just what a helpful chap. Straightens time, and walks on.
Yeah.
He actually like helps him, which is kind of a bit out of character for Roger Moore. But
What's he gonna do? Like pull him back on, like.
I don't know, like I can imagine Sean Connery doing that, but not like Roger Moore so much.
Yeah.
But then like we get this scene where it's just really
Bond
weird.
visits the pyramids.
Yeah,
I love
he's
this
like,
scene.
it's just so weird. Like
It's because of the voiceover that you don't like it.
It
it's
is
that,
very weird. I'll give you that. It's very
Yeah.
strange. It doesn't
And
really
just-
make a hell of a lot of sense. Like the positioning of the characters is what it confuses me. Where is Jaws stood, and where is Bond
Yeah.
stood in relation to
And-
Anya and Vikesh? Because
And how does
Vikesh
Vikesh notice
sees
that Jaws is
Jaws,
there?
and as Vikesh's reaction, he presumably sees Jaws, and he's reacting to him. So where is Jaws stood? Because if Vikesh can see him, everyone can see him. Because this guy like
Yeah, he's
stands
actually
out.
like playing.
Where's
the
Roger
role,
Moore? It's
like-
weird, isn't it? And the
And
music,
it's-
I don't know, but again, you got this really 80s. I don't know why this film
It's
feels
so
so 80s to
crap,
me, 'cause
man.
it's in
It's like,
77.
I
You got
like
this
it, but
It's crap.
and it's like Jaws is there, and it's like, oh, this is weird but cool,
It's
man. I
so
don't know.
goofy. Like I don't see like how it adds to the film.
nah,
And
I think it's
and
like, I mean, it probably must be like quite a Marmite thing though. Like you either really like it or like you really don't. Like
yeah, like and then like it's like nothing that happens makes sense. Like let's see, he sees like Jaws and then has
yeah.
like this reaction. Your first instinct is to leave the secret agent who in theory could try and protect you. Like
Yeah, and
Well,
leave
might
this
keep-
crowded
might
place
keep
where he's
them
not
there,
going to
though,
kill
but-
you in public as well. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
True.
it's just
Guy
doesn't make
shits.
sense.
He panics, I guess. He just
To be
panics.
fair, like
I don't know.
I mean, like as well, like maybe in his case he might not want to stay with the secret agent in case he doesn't know if Jaws is with her, and he's gonna she's gonna interrogate him and just get it for free, and then kill him afterwards maybe. It's like
I think it's a strange one. It's not one you can read into too much, Henry. On this occasion, like
to be fair, that
it
it's
just does make
confusing,
sense.
like,
And we have to like
the main
accept
yeah,
that.
it is the main problem that like you don't really know where Jaws is in relation to them.
Yeah.
It's like
I wish they just had an extra shot just to kind of give us a bit of an idea. I think it's still cool though.
they should have done it
because-
where like Jaws is actually sitting in the seat next to him, and then like there's a light right underneath him that illuminates him.
Yeah. It is a bit odd, but anyway, so Fakesh decides to run like away from a perfectly safe public environment to like this to the pyramids, literally. It's some sort of like cave sort of thing. Jaws goes, hunts him down, kills him with his teeth.
Yeah, well, as well, the fact that, I mean, I don't think Fakesh kind of took this into account, but the fact that he like locks the gate, behind him, he's like, yeah, I'm definitely safe in here. Then George just breaks right with his
and then
teeth.
there's like a
That was
clear
cool.
there's a clear exit he could have run through behind him. But no, he just kind of gets paralyzed and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna stand.
Yeah,
frozen
yeah,
to the
that's
spot.
right.
It's like,
To be fair,
Although,
like you would probably get frozen in fear by this
yeah,
guy.
I'd be like, all right, I'm done, man. Just make it quick. So yeah, but Jaws kills Fakesh, and then Bond is following Jaws, and Anya is following Bond. But Bond doesn't see Jaws, right? Jaws flees the scene before Bond arrives.
The Bond
And
turns up, like he sees Jaws, and then like the lights go out, and then Jaws takes that time to dip, and then like
Yeah.
and then like he's like, where the fuck did he go?
Yeah, Jaws does a Batman, man.
Yeah, Jaws somehow he literally does like I don't really know how Jaws got away that fast. in,
So
like,
agile, yeah, of course, man.
yeah, exactly, mate. He like fucking he probably jumped straight over Bond or something like that. Like
Yeah.
no idea.
So then you got it's not like he's like hanging onto the ceiling like like
Yeah,
Spider-Man
maybe,
or something
could be.
either, like Bond in Goldfinger in the cell. It's not like doing that either. That's for sure.
Well, you never know. He's like
Anyway,
dead to the sand, maybe.
So Bond comes back out, has a bit of a scrap with two of Anya's boys. Obviously handles them with ease. Dusts off his suit. He's, oh, hope you enjoyed the show. Walks off. I think that's pretty cool. It's the first time they sort of see each other, so that's kind of interesting.
I think it's a little bit
cri-
weak
it's a
though,
bit
because
cliche, but it's all right.
yeah, I think it's a little bit weak there because it's not like very clear what their objective is. Because
Yeah,
I mean, it's an opposing spy like from another nation. Like
yeah,
I don't know if it would be a bad idea to kill him because like then that would like stuff like maybe relations between the two countries. I don't really know unless it's like that is their mission to kill him, which obviously it isn't because they're going to find for cash, and they're probably just looking for where he is. But it's not really like they're just like are they just gonna like beat him up and then leave him there or like
Doesn't make sense because it's like, oh, they exceeded their orders. Like, but
mm,
while he was
yeah.
scrapping, whilst he was scrapping with them, like she didn't protest at all. She was like, oh no, stop doing that. You're like, and it's only after they both get clobbered that like, oh yeah, that
Hmm.
it's like, oh, they
well,
weren't meant to
maybe
do that.
maybe might be an opportunity for her to like get a measure of this like foreign agent who she'll probably see later on.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So Bond. Yeah, we need to press on. Look at the time, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So Bond then goes to Bond is decked out, man. His tuxedo
Yeah,
is just stunning, man. And Anya's got some she's got a great dress on
great
as well.
dress.
They meet up in this bar. This is where as well we get quite a very interesting moment in
Yeah,
Bond,
I
like
like
among Bond fans, because
I
she
like that they
references
order
his
each other's
wife.
drinks. Like they both know like all this shit about each other as
Yeah,
well. Like
yeah.
they're just
Uh,
flexing like that how much they've read each other's files.
yeah, but particularly the mention of Bond's ex-wife.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah, because now
Uh,
they're finally not pretending like it didn't happen.
yeah, and then it's one of those things. Now it's kind of like they can't really retcon that as much as they've tried, but it's like, okay, so is this Bond? It's it's just it raises so many interesting questions which no one has the answers to. But I think it is interesting. I don't know. Um, I mean, while we're on the subject, I mean, we might. What do you two think about like this debate in terms of Bond being like these guys are all
Code
canon,
name or
or
like
is it just different agents playing, being assigned this code name, this code number, and James
I
no,
Bond
think
all of
this
a
is the
sudden is
thing
just
that this is the thing that kind of debunks it because it's like you
yeah,
wouldn't get touchy about another guy's wife getting killed, like
yeah,
and you wouldn't. It's like it wouldn't be part of the job description to visit the other bloke's grave, would it? So
yeah.
the other bloke's
it's so
wife's grave.
And furthermore, Diamonds Are Forever. As much as it's shit, the beginning of Diamonds Are Forever kind of.
No, but it
mm,
feels more like unintentionally he is searching for Blofeld,
Although
but
yeah,
but at the
yeah,
same time it like opens in Japan. It's like
yeah,
the
true. It
last
could
place he
be
wants,
continuing from other
and you,
times.
and the
That's a bit
lives.
ambiguous, but still, you could argue if you are
I
someone
know.
that believes that Bond is it's the same guy, um, which is kind of impossible. But it's also like I don't know, like I like that a lot more than
The
yes,
code name, which is
it's
way
just a
more,
code name. I don't really like that
and then
theory,
the
even
code name
though
one
that
has
that is
more
much more
issues.
realistic. But I think the romantic sort of just film viewer, just a Bond fan, just doesn't care.
Yeah,
And I
basically.
want to believe it's all the same guy, sort of
But
thing.
what do you think, Tom, in
I
this?
think it's obviously the same character. Like I don't get like why people think it's a code name and it's just like it's obviously like meant to be one character reflected from the books, and you get people trying to like adhere to the books, like the character in the books more than others, and it just I don't know. There's no like substantial evidence
Mm,
for me to really suggest that it's like just a code name, and it's just like, but yet there's all these shared experiences throughout the thing, like,
mm,
and if it was a code name, then why would they have to make clear that Daniel Craig's tenure was like a kind of alternate kind of thing? If it really was a code name, then they would have just just said that, and but it's not. They make a point out of saying this is like kind of alternative James Bond history, I guess.
mm.
So yeah, it holds no water for me. That is just a code name.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we'll come back to it when we do eventually get to Casino Royale. But for now, this is kind of like one of the moments that does kind of bring up this conversation. So I think it was worth mentioning there. Um, so then they go and they meet some chap.
Yeah, they have like bidding war with this guy, like,
Yeah,
or they're
and
about to, and then he's like, "Oh, I've
yeah,
got an urgent call, mate."
yeah, and yeah, Jaws is there. Jaws kills him.
I like the way like they keep changing shots and like You kind of got like it's the jolly, like there's like the jolly dance music in the background, but then you've also got like some intense like drumming as well, like, and it keeps changing shots. Like this guy's like proper shitting himself. Like you get his like POV, your Jaws looking down at this guy kind of shot.
Oh, you've got a great line as well. I forgot to mention. The guy goes, and from where I'm sitting, I find I imagine that the lady's figure will be hard to match. It's like it's a good line. Anyway, so yeah, Jaws kills him, jumps in his van, and Bond pursues him. We obviously see the stunt double like running, 10 feet because Roger Moore doesn't want to do
because
that.
Roger Moore doesn't want to be seen running.
Yeah, and jumps in this van, and then Anya follows him, and then they're having a chat. Bond's got the dossier on Jaws, and Jaws is listening. Like his ego's being stroked, man. He's there. He's like,
it almost
bollocks.
reminds us. It reminds me actually of that bit in the original Johnny English where it's like, now no one can hear us, and then it's playing on a loudspeaker.
Yeah.
I like how he like Jules grins when he's like name dropped, and he's like,
I'm
the guy.
Yeah, that is a nice moment. So then Bond and Anya they turn up at sort of pyramids kind of construction
Jaws
site.
takes him there, to like try and kill him.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's like
it's Bond and Anya versus Jaws. This scene is really cool, man. It's a bit weird, but it's very cool.
Because he loses them a bit.
The music is like really. There's this little jarring music change where it's like there's this slow, like kind of dopey romantic thing.
It's like quite good.
It's like do 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 do, and it just randomly changes to like dun 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 when they're like going into the ruins or whatever, and it's just like okay. Could they have gone?
It's weird for me. You see, like what Jaws is actually doing when he walks along the top. It's a cool stunt. It's a cool shot. But it's like, why is that happening?
He's gonna
and it's just like
tunes,
they're trying to. It feels like they're trying to make us think like Jaws is some sort of ninja, which does not. No one even as a child, I'm not buying that, man, because he's like already vanished from this thing. Now that I think about it, it's kind of like, are they trying to show us that Jaws is like really something he's not? I'm not. I don't know. But anyway,
but the fact is that
he does drop down on Bond, and they do have.
Well, he originally tries like pushing a big brick on them.
That's right.
Like some Wile E. Coyote kind of plan.
That's
like,
true. That's true. Yeah.
That is really how he feels a lot of the time. Like he does feel almost like a
cartoonish.
Like, literally like a cartoon, like specifically from that.
Obviously, Bond like goes to hit him in the face straight away, like, as you do. Like should break his hand by all rights doing that, but so they have this fight, and Anya shows up with a gun, and it's like it's very tense.
Yeah, give me that microfilm in it.
Yeah, he does the classic, drops it on the floor, so she has to go down and pick it up, and then he takes advantage.
I mean, it would have been easier just for like if I was holding him at gunpoint, just Tom, and if he drops on the floor, like okay, pick it up and then like throw it a little bit further,
Yeah. But that's like classic, like that's like you see that in films all the time. It's a good trope. But and then Bond sort of tricks Jaws into like collapsing some Egyptian builders.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like because like Jaws just swings at him like with a not even a bat, just like a rod. And,
that's right.
Completely like entombs himself in this. But like right after that scene, you see like his hands like coming out. Like he's not over.
Yep. So then. Yes, and then they obviously go and flee into the van, into Jaws' van.
She's got the microfilm, but Bond took the keys to the van beforehand.
Yeah, and Jaws is like buried under this pile of rubble, and then like the hand moves or whatever. It's like it's just great. It's just great. Jaws is just so, and I mean obviously we already had Red Grant and Odd Job, but Jaws is just like another level like of Bond henchman, which really sets the tone for future ones. Just like this, you think he's dead, but he's not dead. I mean, you get it later with Dave Bautista, in your favorite film, Henry.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it really the influence stretches so far. But anyway, with Jaws, he's there. He's just you can't kill him. That's the whole point of him. And he's like tearing up this van. He's like fucking up the van. They're trying to get out.
I don't know why Bond's doing this, but he's like taking the piss, like trying to find which key was it,
That was ad-libbed, by the way.
Really?
Can you play any more tunes? Yeah, that was improvised actually, because I think the actress Barbara Batch for Anya, she genuinely couldn't drive, so I think that was part of the just Roger Moore being himself. So yeah, they eventually get away from Jaws. Drops the brick on his foot, which is
He like proper lifts up the van as well, though. Like
yeah, that's right. So yeah, then they're like marching through the desert, which is a bit obviously the van breaks
that
down.
music cue
This is pretty jarring. I'll give you this, Tom. Like that sort of military music's just like, oh, that's a bit over the top. And also, like, they're walking through the desert for about 2 minutes, and then they find.
So it's like, oh, here's like the oasis and the ocean next to them. Like.
Yeah, it's so convenient, man. It's like in John Wick, where he's just like, and with your last breath, that's when you'll arrive at the destination. It's like, it's just a stroll through a beach, It's
exactly.
Yeah, just 2 minutes away.
It'd never be.
To be fair though, like imagine if they had like a 20-minute bit where like they're like stuck in the desert. They just need to like.
They would do that with Daniel Craig, like that. That would make it into Daniel Craig film, never in the Roger Moore film, man. That would be too strenuous for him, man.
Yeah, he needs to get like a stunt double.
Henry, who would have to break a sweat.
Yeah, he'd have to have like a stunt double to look dehydrated,
Yeah, Roger Moore's not going to break a sweat. Come on, man.
Exactly.
So yeah, they hitch a ride on this boat, and shared bodily warmth. Bond's getting excited by this information about Russian training. But then she pulls out a cigarette and sort of and it's like he thinks his luck's on, like they're gonna and then she knocks him out, knockout gas. Whoa, what's gonna happen, ladies and gentlemen? We don't know, because now
great.
I want to play a game.
Just gonna get straight into it. Obviously, in case you didn't watch the last episode, we've changed up the format a bit, so it's Tom versus Henry now. Got 7 questions.
In what game, James?
Best of 7. Sorry, Henry.
In what game?
License to quiz. So yeah. So we start with the classic 2 questions. And by the way, it is 1-0 to Tom. Right?
Yep.
You won the last episode, right, Tom?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I should really know this. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. There's only been one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you stopped the rot. That's right. Yeah, good. Okay, well, we'll start with the classic 2 questions. The budget for The Spy Loved Me, 1977.
I'm gonna hazard 10 million.
I'm gonna say 15 million. It feels a bit bigger budget. I'm not sure.
Okay, Tom, you're right. Well, not quite, but you won, because it was 13.5 million, according to IMDb, of course. The box office, the worldwide gross.
I do believe it did well, so I'm gonna say
85 million.
I'm gonna say 150 million.
Oh, no, I'm gonna say 100 million. That's mine.
And Tom?
I said 150 million.
Henry wins the point, because the box office was actually 46 million. Yep.
What?
That shocked me.
Is that international or is that domestic?
Worldwide gross, according to IMDb,
nuts.
$46 million.
Alright.
I was as shocked as you are. I couldn't believe that. I was even more shocked by that than The Man with the Golden Gun.
It's like, wow.
Okay, so it's 1-1. Now, the man who directed this film, chap called Lewis Gilbert, directed 2 other Bond films. Which ones were they?
I'm gonna say
Thunderball.
Wait.
Are there any future ones that he does that you're including in this?
Yeah.
That's for you to
Is
guess,
this
mate.
Roger Moore or is it?
He's directed this.
I'm gonna say
The Spy Who Loved Me and 2 other Bond films. The first, the 2 of you that say it first. Sorry, the one, whoever of you says them first wins. So
okay, I'm gonna say For Your Eyes Only and Thunderball.
I'm gonna say For Your Eyes Only and Time Is Our Forever. I have no clue.
Keep guessing.
For Your Eyes Only and Octopussy.
It's not For Your Eyes Only.
Thunderball and
not Thunderball.
I'm gonna say The Man with the Golden Gun and Moonraker.
Not The Man with the Golden Gun.
Live and Let Die and Like I'm kind of like lost for which way from this to go.
Think about it. We've
Moon-
actually mentioned both films already that this guy's directed. We've
Oh.
already mentioned. I mean, we've already mentioned every Bond film, but
I mean, have we reviewed them already as well?
I'll give you a bit of a clue. I mean, literally, this film we've all agreed is strongly influenced by a previous film that this guy directed.
You Only Live Twice.
Yep.
And
You know, twice.
Moonraker.
and-
Moonraker.
Moonraker, you got it, Tom.
Ah,
Yes.
Good job. And when you think about that, it makes so much sense. These three films are very like the most larger than life Bond films, and that adds up, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah, You Only Live Twice, Moonraker, and The Spy Loved Me, all directed by Lewis Gilbert.
Right, I've got my work cut out now. So
Someone's winning 2-1. How many Oscars was this film nominated for?
Gonna say 2.
I'm just gonna say 1.
Sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
No clue whatsoever.
3. I'll give it 3.
Sure.
No, I'll
Final
go
answer.
just with 1 then. That's my final answer.
1. And Tom, you're saying 2, yeah?
Yeah.
It was 3.
fuck my life,
So
man.
Tom wins that one. It's 3-1 now. The Oscars this film was nominated for was Best Art Direction, Set Direction, Ken Adam, of course. Nominated for the Best Music Original Song for Nobody Does It
Yeah, I
Better. They got
thought
an
so.
Oscar nomination, yep. And it was nominated for Best Music Original Score. So there you go. So yeah, 3 Oscar nominations there, which is the most so far for a Bond film. Okay, question 5. What day was this film released on?
They're almost always in the later part of the year. I'm gonna say
I'm gonna say June 16th, 1977.
I'm going to give you a clue. This number has significance.
September 10th, 1977.
Just think carefully. Just think carefully, and then give me an answer, both of you. Thinking what you already know about the release year of this film.
Oh, I'm gonna say
The
August
7th of the
28th.
7th, 1977.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Oh, I see.
7th of July, 1977. 7777.
No, I get it. All right,
Yeah.
well,
It's good, isn't it? So
That's
I
quite
thought it was
clever,
gonna
yes.
be.
it's cool, isn't it? They took the opportunity to do that. So yeah. Okay, so it's 3-2. Henry's
That's
is
why
back
it's
in
like
it.
2077, you know, like
Yeah. Now, obviously, it's no secret that the Bond villain dies here. So, Stromberg, how many slugs does he take?
3.
4.
Henry's right. It's 4.
Yeah.
What?
Henry's brought it back to 3-3.
4 shots. I remember
Yeah.
even knowing this like when I was younger. So
Yeah, he takes
Didn't
4
count it for
bullets.
the
That's right.
it's
Now,
3-3 now, isn't it?
sorry.
3-3 now, isn't it?
3 all indeed. Yes. So this is the deciding question. Now we know that Nick Nack's height was 4'11".
7
How
foot
tall
2.
was Jaws in relation to Sanders? Is that his name? Sandal, sorry.
Sandal.
Shandor.
I think he
He was 7 foot 2. I mean, we meant to know what Shandor's height was as well.
Are we talking about the height difference? I'm gonna
Yeah.
say 3 foot difference, 3'2".
I'm gonna say
I need to do a bit of maths here, actually.
Actually, I'm gonna say 2'7" because he would literally have to be like half his height if he was gonna.
I need to do some quick math here.
Yeah, same. Okay. All right. I've got the final answer. So I want your answer in feet and inches.
Gonna say
You know
2
that
foot.
Jaws is 7'2". You're right
Two-
there.
I'm gonna
But that
say
would have been too easy. So I want the height difference between Jaws and Sandal.
I'm gonna say 2'7".
I'm gonna say 2'3".
By saying that, you're thinking that Sandal is like 5 foot,
11.
5'5" or whatever.
Yeah, he's
No.
pretty short though, like compared to Roger Moore and like.
No,
Henry,
I'm gonna
if
say,
you're saying he's 5'11", then the height difference would be 1'3".
yeah, I guess. Wouldn't it be 2'3"? Oh no, it would be 1'3".
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
Okay.
yeah.
we're
I'm
just
gonna
guessing Shandor's height here, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm
say-
guessing he would be 5'11", 5'10".
I'm just
I
gonna
need the
s-
final answer from both of you.
I'm
Alright,
gonna say
final
t-
answer,
I'm, go-
5
And this
foot.
is for the winner. This is for the winner.
I'm gonna say 2'7", Sadiq to that.
Okay,
I'm
so
sticking.
but then 2'7", Tom, you're saying that Sandor is 5'4".
Fine, I'm gonna say
1.
2'4".
Just say how tall you think Shandor is.
No, I'm just gonna say 2 foot. The difference is 2'4". I'm gonna say that.
Okay, so then you're reckoning Sandor's 5'8".
Yep.
Henry?
I'm gonna say 5'10".
Okay.
What? Wait, but this is the difference.
That's his
So
height.
put
Yeah, no, his height is
put the
5'10".
difference.
Well,
So
if you're saying
difference would be
5'10", then the difference is 1'4".
Yeah.
Either way, the answer, drum roll, Sandor's height is 5'11". So Henry, you just made it there.
Because I know what Roger Moore's height is, and I'm just guessing by like remembering their like stature during the fight, and I was like, right.
It surprised me because I thought Sandor was way shorter because he stood next to Jaws all the time. So that's what throws you off. That's why I thought it would be a
Yeah.
good
But
question.
if I needed it in relation with someone else who I also know the height of.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you, Roger Moore.
yeah. So there you go. There you go. Henry's won his first license to quiz, so it's
Yeah.
1-1 now in the
I'm not
overall
getting,
score
I'm
between
not
Tom and
like I'm going home with one win at least, like in the sense.
Yeah. So good stuff. Okay, now back to the film. So Bond has been knocked out by knockout gas. What's going to happen? He
Yeah,
wakes
guys,
up.
that's it.
He wakes up. It's okay, guys. Bond's not dead. He wakes up and he's just on the boat, and He goes to meet M. And
Yeah,
Goggle.
I like the fake out in this though. Almost like
Yeah.
it's not really much of a fake out, I guess, but like he walks in and like
Yeah.
because he's just seen Moneypenny,
Yeah.
and he like walks in, he just sees Gogol there with his desk, and he's like, "What the
And
fuck?"
his Russian music.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah, the stereotypical Russian music, you know,
Yeah.
just like that music cue, and he's just there like looking up at him, and he's just like, right. And then also like Agent Triple X just pops up as well, like, and then M's also like pops out the door, and then he's just
Yeah.
like complete.
Literally everyone rocks up. Then Anya's there, and Q is there as well.
Yeah. He's like, what's going on, man?
I think this is one of the things that is great about this film. I think it starts off like really full on doing the whole Q's lab basically.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get that really in full fledged until this film, where you just get they're pulling out everything. The thing for the tea party.
I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
want that ready for his tea party. You know, just
Like
like
that could have
stuff
been
about
used.
the spike coming out of the camera. Oh, that brings tears to your eye. You know, like the rope, the shisha pen, all this stuff, man. It's just like it's perfect. This is what
Yeah.
you want. You love to see it. You know.
Yeah, so like as well with that the teapot gadget, like, you know, reminded me of like you know, you could have used that on Strongburg, you know, like like
Mm.
long ass dining table, just
Yeah,
like
you could have. Yeah.
behead it, but guy probably doesn't drink tea, so
Yep. You also have obviously Anya and Bond up staging each other, you know, in front of front of M and Goggle, which is like quite good.
it's like, oh,
Um,
it's I think it's in Corsica, and she's like, actually, Bond, it's in Sardinia.
it's
You know?
good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
But Bond's the guy who first noticed the Liparis kind of no, the
yeah,
Stromberg.
and
Like,
it's funny because you know she's like, yeah, I got the tape, which was got with considerable ease, I might add. You know, it's like, oh, okay, it's like it's
yeah,
good.
but
You
then
know,
Bond's
Bond
like,
takes
oh,
that
I've already
personally,
looked at
man,
the
you know,
tape.
like,
It's useless, you know, like
yeah, it's great. It's great.
designed
It's
to
so
web
low
trap,
key.
like-
It's so subtle. I love the way this is written and directed, man. And acted, of course. It's brilliant.
I mean, how do you feel about this scene, Tom? Because like, do you think it's maybe too much, or
Got to be a bit of a highlight, doesn't it? For you?
She's so monotone, like in it, and it's just like, it's all right, but like it could have been done much better. Like, and then she's like, and the only thing that I find kind of amusing about it is like, where he's like, oh, he's one of the richest men, and then he's like one of the principal capitalistic exploiters of the West. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, like yeah, he might be one of the richest men, but his drip is shocking, you know, like
What I like as well, you get a moment where M is like proud of Bond. He's like, "Well done, Bond." It's like the only compliment you'll ever hear,
yeah,
man. Yeah,
literally,
it's like, "Well
and it's
done, Bond."
just because like
Wow.
he'll look like a spastic in front of like
Yeah.
in
Oh,
front
you
of
do
like
have Goggle references M by his name, doesn't he?
Mallory,
Yeah.
even though that's not.
Miles and
Miles, that's it. It's
sister.
Miles. Yeah.
Yeah, Mallory's
Mallory's
for the
later
later
on,
on, but
Henry.
like
Yeah.
yeah, calls him
Miles. That's
Michael, you know.
Miles. So yeah.
Feels, man.
Um.
After you.
So that's that. Then they get okay. So then Bond and Anya, they're getting the train, and we get a classic sort of Bond train fight.
Yeah.
Um, This time with Jaws. Jaws pops up again. He's being a
Oh.
peeping Tom.
His reveal
on,
though is so good though. Like she opens the cupboard, he's like barely able to fit in there though, but he's already
Yeah.
looking down. You've got like the train whistle that goes off at the same time.
Yeah, it's great.
That's like I would genuinely probably die of shock just like if you open up to that.
Mm,
Well, you know, Jaws
Yeah.
proves to be a woman beater. He does not
yeah.
take any prisoners.
He's equal rights, equal fights, man.
He hates
and-
everyone equally.
Yeah, and he fights Bond. There's a good fight with Bond, who obviously, shakes
He's
him
like
off with
tossing
the.
him around, man, like on the
Yeah, like a rag doll, man.
I'm
Bond does
surprised. I'm surprised, like, because Roger Moore doesn't look like the most flattering in this like fight as well. Like he's like proper,
Yeah.
like being manhandled, and he's like, this props to this fight, like, is like even more so than I think with Sean Connery. He was proper fighting for his life here, like
Oh yeah, he's really under the cosh for sure.
yeah, because like with Connery and Red Grant, it's like more of like you're seeing like two relatively equal match people go against each other in a confined space. This is like Bond is like
Jaws is playing with him, man.
It's like David and Goliath almost.
yeah, really like the only
yeah,
thing that saves him is like quick thinking, like
That's right. Resourcefulness, which is in this case a lamp, like being electrocuted.
not the first time Bond dispatched of a guy with a lamp, when
True, good point. And then pushes him out the window just like Teehee. And except Jaws doesn't get, he just rolls off and dusts himself.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just say as well, Jaws is drip, man, in the double-breasted
like
suits. He's
got
like
like a
he's
baby
like
blue
just because
suit,
he's tall, man. His tailor's on job, man. Fair play.
Yeah.
And then obviously he goes and seduces Anya. They're all like excited and stuff. I did want to comment on the fact like Bond is kissing her with his eyes open. This is a bit strange. Like no one does that, man. Bond in general. Why does Bond kiss with his eyes open? Is that like spy training? It must be.
Well, yeah, you got to keep an eye out for the reflection if there's a person behind you.
That takes a lot of training, man. Because it's like a reflex, when you like close your eyes. But then he's always got his eyes open. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like fair enough. That's kind of like the one thing that does make him like a really believable secret agent. Oh yeah, okay, he does do that. Fair enough.
I would like to point out that like this scene, like just Anya, I don't know, she's turned on by blood or something. She just like immediately falls for him after he's just got battered. And if we're going to be as harsh to whatever Spectre later, we have to point out that this is the exact same thing. Like they just put like until this.
I mean, they like their relationship switches like on a dime,
Yeah, it does, and like on almost the same circumstances as well. And it's like,
oh yeah, you're right.
I would say that's true to an extent, but not to the same extent as Inspector, because this is like they have like frosty relations at the start because they're both chasing the same guy. It's like rivalry. I mean, they do have a bit of banter with each other because they both like survive through the desert for all of 30 seconds, and like
what I will say,
like she falls asleep on his shoulder in the van, and like later on, especially with like after they'd announced that they would both be actually like working together on this, like they're kind of like back and forth with each other is not so much like in a rivalry. It's more like like a joking kind of teasing way. So there is an evolution to this.
And what I would say as well,
but
after I've never been like circumstances that dramatic in a fight for my life. But I can tell you, a good kick of adrenaline really does get you horny. And that's why it happens. Like they hook up and they're just like, yeah, man, let's fuck each other.
Yeah, they're like, we ain't got much life left, let's go.
They wouldn't, and that is where I would actually say Spectre's love scene is like that turning on a dime is actually a bit more realistic. Cause they're like tearing each other's clothes off, man. They can't wait to get into each other. This is like very slow and romantic, and that's where it's like, okay, you would just fuck there and then, man.
This scene is worse than the Spectre equivalent then, if you put it like that.
Yeah, but you're like criticizing because it's like, oh, like it turns on a dime. That is exactly the sort of circumstances that would. It wouldn't just be like, oh, over natural progression in time. It would have to be like some real adrenaline shot, like what they've just been through.
The thing is, the one thing that like also made me like question in this is like, I assume Jaws, like, because Bond is like a flesh wound on his shoulder, which I assume must have been Jaws like bit off part of the shoulder. Like obviously not like a giant chunk, but like there's like some blood there, like he
Yeah.
Like he's just like he's banging, but that must sting like to like no ends, man. He's got this open wound, that he hasn't treated yet. Like
Adrenaline, mate. Adrenaline.
yeah,
You
I know,
don't
adrenaline, but it will wear off. So
Yeah, but after. Anyway, then Q comes and delivers the Lotus.
yeah, I
So
love it. Like because they're like on a holiday basically in this place.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, then Q shows
Wow.
up with the Lotus.
yeah,
Very iconic Bond car.
which isn't an Aston Martin for once.
Yeah, very different. Very different. I always thought this was quite an ugly car, but
I quite
it's
like it. It
so
reminds me of
like
one of the old
so well
MPs.
known. It's so famous, and just has like such a memorable place within Bond history, and rightly so. Even though, in my opinion, I mean, a lot of people fell in love with this car. I think it's so ugly, man.
You know,
What do you what? I mean, no doubt it's got great gadgets and stuff, but I don't like it just because it's ugly.
What do you
I don't know.
think, Tom? Do you like this car?
I think it's a really cool car. Like I love it, and
Would you
um,
drive that car?
yeah, of course. Like
Yeah,
I
same.
would never. I hate it.
it's
What about you,
cool.
Henry?
Like the only thing I don't, the only thing I don't like about it is like how like it's just kind of goofy. I know they probably couldn't have done it, but how it like they needed 3 models to like do the
Oh, yeah.
underwater thing, but like that kind of takes away from it a bit, considering how they managed to make the Aston Martin vanish, like actually vanish, kind of, and then.
Well, you
But
remember when they did that on Top Gear, with that, like, I mean, well, we'll get to that when we get to like, like
Fuck's sake.
episode 20.
Why have we got to episode 11 now of the Bond series and we haven't referenced Top Gear yet? What is wrong
Yeah,
with
exactly.
this?
Well, still, are you saying that the model work underwater is like too obvious?
no, it just knowing that like it didn't actually
well,
turn
come
into a
on, man.
But
Like,
it's
what
submarine.
do you
it's like
expect? They're
knowing
not
that
going to make a
like
fully functional
someone,
submarine, are they?
yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
know,
like
but like
That's
it's like
just the
knowing
trick of
that.
the films. That's like film magic, of
Yeah,
course.
it's like knowing like unless a stunt double is extremely obvious. Like if you know that someone did a stunt, then it doesn't really matter. Like or if like I mean literally like this is actually quoting Timothy Dalton. He literally said like with like if they're seeing if an audience can easily see it's a stunt double, like that breaks the immersion, and like they're taking out the film. But at the same time, if they can clearly see like if they also think at the same time, oh, it's the actor doing the stunt, isn't that crazy? It's also pulling out the film in the same way. So it's
Mm,
like just watch the film and enjoy it effectively. Like
mm,
unless it's like
interesting.
something that really takes you out, like just knowing something like that isn't really that important, I think.
And I think that gives it a little bit of rewatch value as well, because you're like, oh, that's cool. Like you notice it, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like,
and like even I mean I knew that, and I was looking to see if there were any signs where you could tell it's a model. I mean, obviously they'd led all the fish away with like
I think it is quite obvious though, because the lines where the wheel, the hubcaps, like moves in, and then they're completely gone. It's like smooth plastic.
I actually didn't notice that. So
Yeah, I did. I'm like, but I don't
I
know.
mean, there is stuff today that where you can have like complete. They can have stuff that moves and they will have invisible seams. So just say that Q is a bit up to date on that.
Maybe. I think, yeah, but I
And
don't know. That's
it
like
would
if you're
have to be anyway.
really nitpicking. That's
Yeah.
if you're really nitpicking. You've watched this like 30 times, like we have.
This is
But
getting so this is getting ahead of ourselves anyway because we've only just seen the car, and
yeah, right. So
I
then,
like
okay, so yeah,
with
he
Q.
gets to live the Lotus, and what I like about this scene, you just see Q departing it. He knows he's never going to see that car again, but he really cares. It's like
Yeah.
he really lets it, like, kills him to let it go. It's like seeing his child leave almost. It's just like, oh, it's like
Yeah.
part of
It's
him
like someone
dies inside,
spent
and you see that he's
years.
just shaking his head. He's like,
Yeah, because like
oh,
he's just about to give Bond like the lecture, like
yeah.
right, so now pay attention, like, and then he's like, Q, I've ever let you down, and he drives off and he's like,
Yeah. Bond
frequently.
doesn't give a fuck, man. He like, might as well spit on Q on his way out, man. Like, like he's just there.
yeah,
He's like,
very disrespectful considering like how many times Q stuff has like saved his
oh
life.
yeah, yeah.
But it's this
But that's what makes it
if they
so
had a
amusing. That's what
respectful
makes their
relationship, it wouldn't be
dynamic
funny.
so like enthralling, man. Because the contrast, like, it's so funny. Like Bond is in debt to Q for his life on so many occasions. He still treats him like some silly uncle, man. Whatever.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of that like because if he actually did have respect for him, it wouldn't be as good, like it wouldn't be as
Oh,
entertaining.
yeah, exactly.
Because then otherwise it'd just be diligently listening to everything, being like, yeah, oh, that is cool, Q, like that's for the audience.
with his notepad out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now we meet Naomi, who is an absolute bombshell of a woman, man.
Yeah.
Wow. But
she's
I mean, it's funny, in this documentary I was watching about Spy Love Me, they were like, they really are like. Let me put it this way. I'm going to directly quote one of the. I can't remember who it was. I don't want to get it wrong. I don't know if it was the producer or the casting director, someone high up in the production side of things, and he was like describing the process of how they choose Bond actresses, and like the guy, maybe it was tongue in cheek, but I really kind of like, I don't doubt that what he said was serious. He's like, yeah, obviously they've got to look beautiful, they've got to look, be exotic, and they've got to act a little bit as well, And
that really does seem how they
yeah,
go.
and I'm like, okay, that was probably you're joking there, but actually you're not, are you? Because that is like the acting level is really like very low. The bar is very low. Until I think very, very, very recent Bond films, they don't give a shit like if it's a good actress or not. It is 9 times out of 10 just like a good-looking woman. Can you read some lines? Can you memorize a script? Good. Okay, you're hired. Like
to be
you're
fair,
hot,
like
you're in.
And I think
None of these actors are particularly talented. I mean, when you can contrast that to the efforts they go to cast the villains and how some of the great names you get there, it's like chalk and cheese.
Charles Gray. I mean,
Well, okay,
I think
with the exception of Charles Gray.
when it comes to that though, I don't think it even really to them. They knew it didn't matter that much, and I think
That's right.
it doesn't really like.
But Naomi is a prime example. That's why it reminded me because, like, with the lead, and it's like, yeah, we just hire her because she's a model. Like that's it. That's literally it.
I mean, that's literally how
you don't need a CV. You're just hot. That'll do. And I mean, for the leading Bond girl, I think they do put a little bit more. They put a lot more effort into it, actually. To be fair, they went through dozens of names to get and Barbara Batch before they got Barbara Batch. To be fair, but for the side accessories, it's like, yeah, whatever.
I
Which,
think you're
to be
being a
fair,
bit too
works because
harsh
you
on
see
that.
it, you're like, wow, and Roger Moore's reaction and everything is just great lines, all that.
What were you saying?
Yeah.
I think James is being a bit too harsh on it because like, Ian Fleming did say like the target audience is quote hot-blooded heterosexual males basically, and
Yeah.
so
God, you
like
did not get away with that today.
so you just like shows a pretty face and a pretty body, and then that does it. Especially she's like
Yeah,
she's
then
just
like the bad acting goes over your head,
I don't know, like
Mm.
what even is she? She's like, I mean, the film is over the top in so many other ways. I don't think
Yeah.
having some kind of like almost wearing nothing woman like as a side piece walking around like is like blowing.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm not complaining, but
she's got some
what made me laugh was how honest the guy was about that. He was just like, yeah, if they act, it's like a bonus,
The thing is as well,
oh,
like
you've acted before, great, wow, like
in this
not necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, you can imagine the advert looking for Bond actresses. Requirements. Not important. Acting. It's
not
like Bond
required.
actress or acting not so important. It's like, oh, you act. Oh, great.
Like with the one thing is that I think with this now that I think about it is like with Naomi, is that her name or something? But like,
maybe.
why is Stromberg employing her of all people? Like, like this guy is like he clearly like with his secretary as well does not give a shit about like anyone, like like be it female or male or like anyone. Like maybe this is just to like I don't know. Maybe it's just to like I don't know stuff like male spies who can't keep it to themselves, but
I don't know. I mean,
the test for Bond.
yeah.
I think the main reason is in this film is to like because it shows like her and Anya almost have like a bit of like back and forth, and there's
Good,
like
isn't it?
competition over
I like
Bond.
that.
And like he has to remember like, oh yeah, I've got a Russian agent next to me who will kill me if I look at her.
Yeah.
You know.
So anyway, so basically the point of this is that Bond goes to meet Stromberg,
Yeah, as a
Oh.
marine biologist.
Yeah, undercover as
That's
a
right.
marine biologist.
And obviously, you know, Stromberg doesn't like to shake hands, you know, and they do this sort of.
Yeah, but knowing this, he goes in for a handshake anyway. Like,
Yeah,
it's
but
power
you
play.
know, Bond holds the L, man, because he has to like withdraw a handshake, and no one likes doing that, you know.
It's so
Getting
like
aired.
No,
it's
he
so
just doesn't do the handshake. Goes in for the dab. Like.
one thing that's a bit
does
grim about
the
this.
nose or whatever. You know, like.
One thing that's a bit grim about this is like he goes into this really cool like crib, in my opinion, for Stromberg, and then he's like you're just seeing all these like amazing, beautiful like underwater stuff, and it's just like there's this really grim moment where he just sees like a dead like corpse there underneath them.
There's like a hand,
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it's just I don't know, it's just really cold like tonally.
I quite like.
I forgot that was there. I never
quite like
noticed
it, though,
that
'cause
until
it's
I'm
like-
like, oh yeah, shit, you know,
'cause
like
it's not like
until someone points it out. I never noticed. I'm like, oh yeah,
it's not like
it's
most
chilling,
kind
isn't
of
it?
like villain like homes, I guess, like because they're like homes and their hideouts are one and the same, really, or more or less
Yeah.
in Bond. But this
Especially
is
in this
like,
case, yeah.
ain't me. Oh, well, this is like he Stromberg kind of has like a like this shows off like how he appears on the surface, but when you look a little bit further behind,
Mm.
like if you look closely, like Bond does here, is like, oh, that's a severed hand, like of someone he just
Yeah.
yeah, and also
It's
like
got a Spectre ring on it, you know.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I quite like as well, like he's like, oh yeah, you're a marine biologist, name that fish.
Oh, this is brilliant, man. This is ultimate Roger Moore like knowledge test. Yeah, this surpasses for me even like I don't know. This versus George Lazenby, the butterfly, you know, like
Yeah.
what's better? They're both like so prime, man. But I think for this, it's kind of like Bond. This is like how good of an agent are you, Bond? Like, do you really know stuff? Because your like life depends on it now, effectively. Whereas with them, it was just flexing. But I think that's even more amusing that he wants to flex on him. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know which one's better, but they're both
Tom,
great.
also, is he right about that tigerfish? Is it?
It's a lionfish if I recall correctly, but he uses the flipping
Okay.
Latin name for it, which is like always gets on my nerves a little bit. It's just like
Oh no,
it's
but that's Roger will go the extra mile, man. You know.
Well, look at that,
That's what
man.
he
I'd
does
have
with the
been
butterfly
dead
before.
ages.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that scene. Anyway, so then Bond leaves with Anya and Stromberg's like, yeah, kill him. So now we get into the Lotus chase, which is just just brilliant. You've got
Yeah,
the
Mitchell
music
gets
again, Tom's
mainland
favorite
revenge
score.
for them.
And what I like is the ascension of
progression.
the progression, I should say, yes, of the troubles that it encounters. Because this is basically actually this is the
different
last
chases,
time we
aren't
see
there?
the. Oh no, it's not. Sorry. So we got the Lotus here, and you get to see like it all the bells and whistles basically. So first of all, it's preceded by a sidecar with the rocket, like for the sidecar, which is cool.
Yeah.
And the music changes as well. It doesn't go fully fledged. It just starts off with this,
Yeah.
and then you get like Jaws turns up in his car.
Yeah, and you forget the part where like the main obstacle is like he's got this missile behind him, and he's got these two trucks he's got to weave between, which like
Yeah.
covers the guy in feathers, goes flying off the edge,
Yeah.
and, all those feathers, and he can't.
Oh, yeah.
I will
Like-
say like this action like Carl Stromberg really does throw absolutely everything against these two in their car. Like he gets that car out, he gets the rocket motorcycle, he gets Jaws on the case, and when they go underwater, he sends like submarines and stuff after them, and then
Man.
I find that funny just to think that Stromberg had all these guys crewed out just in case Bond has a submarine as well in his car,
Yeah.
I mean, I assume it might be for other things as well, considering world powers won't be too happy with him afterwards. So,
Yeah. So Jaws in the car, I think that's just great. He just pops
Yeah.
out. He's just it's so cool.
It's great because he's shooting, and then like another guy leans out, he just like takes that guy's gun as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And then like he gets forced off the cliff. Bond like forces them off the cliff, crashes into this guy's roof, and then Jaws walks out, dusts himself off again.
Yeah,
It's so good,
He
man.
just looks at the guy like, oh, you're like, what are you looking at me for? And then
And it's already happened like 3 times now. It's just Jaws is all immediately just so iconic. Just walking through, you've already seen it. It's just becoming a thing.
like-
and it never gets boring, never gets tiring. It's never not funny.
He's literally like a human Terminator,
It's
basically.
brilliant. Yeah. And then, of course, after Jaws is gone, you got the chopper comes with Naomi in it, who's kind of hard to recognize with her clothes on, but she's there and like I don't know, that's a bit cringe. It's like the winking and stuff,
Well, I think the best part of it is like the actual shot they get of like the Lotus is quite close to the camera, and then next to it, like the helicopter comes up, like
very good.
beside it. That must have been quite. I mean, I've never flown a helicopter, but I imagine that would have been quite.
Hey, and they do it for the stunt itself when it drives off the pier. The helicopter's in shot fully, and you're like, wow, that's like really impressive.
I mean, she is a terrible shot with that thing, man. You got two.
Woeful. She doesn't even fire it most of the time. She's like well within range and just doesn't fire. She's useless, man.
Yeah, well, it's like just going side to side. Like, well, what they should have done is save on bullets, get more kills.
To be fair,
get rid of one of the guns, put the other gun in the middle, and you would have hit him. Like.
To be fair, like it probably would be extremely difficult to aim like with like these like little guns, twin guns that are like mounted on the bottom of it, and she's obviously
as well because like where you're aiming is dependent on where the helicopter is also facing, so it's not like they're both independent. And I like how Bond kind of like at one point takes the piss trying to like see if she's a bad pilot or not. But he drives forward, turns around, goes backwards, turns around again, and just like fucking about and then the helicopter
very nifty
in circles. Yeah.
And anyway, so then he drives off the pier. We get like it's very famous like the car transforms into submarine. We've already sort of touched on that.
Yeah, like Agent Triple X like shits herself. Like she's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh yeah, and then she remembers. Oh yeah,
I knew that. Like, maybe it was that she doesn't trust Key's like tech. Like, probably thought it was like a joke thing that they wouldn't actually make.
Like, maybe.
But
and then obviously you've got the underwater battle, like Stromberg sends the submarines after her.
We do get like a really rare instance of basically Bond killing a woman in like almost cold blood, like when he fires which is I don't know, it's quite unique.
Well, in fairness, like she was like avidly trying to kill them both, so.
He didn't need to kill her, but I think it was cool, like the gadget. So
they can't just like have a helicopter not explode in a Bond.
Yeah, and she had a chance, man. Anyway,
I actually wonder if there's ever a helicopter we see in Bond that doesn't end up exploding.
I think it would have
been
in
Thunderball.
No. I think it would have been cooler. Like it'd be more amusing if like he was aiming the thing at her and then Anya reaches over and fires it.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah,
good.
that would have been.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Tom. Yeah, that would have been.
Like he's like debating, and then she's like, "No, fuck her." Like,
yeah. That would have been great.
Because that would be like proper. That would have been great for the rivalry, But
yeah, I agree. Anyway, so then we get the underwater battle, far improved on Thunder, but I still don't think I forgot that the underwater bit happens. Like I know it becomes a submarine, but I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Then he drives off onto the beach, but no, there's this underwater fights always suck, man. You can't change my mind.
I think this
underwater battles are always crap. No matter
this one's
how.
Alright, because like first you get like a nice view of like cool stuff under the water, like they maybe the camera. Crew had a nice trip to the Bahamas for this, like.
Was it reminiscent of your recent trip to the London Aquarium as well, Henry?
Yeah, totally. Oh yeah, well, it reminds me of it. So
they're like I actually disagree with the whole like underwater fights are always bad. I know I do agree that they're like almost never done right. Like they're always done like it's always goofy and stuff, and this is what I don't like.
What's an example of a good one then?
In Fear Eyes Only, when there's that guy in the
that's the worst of all, man. Are you joking?
That's like horror-esque. Like that's really
like
good.
Saying that Soma, man.
I remember that as being really shit, but I will come back to that to be fair, because maybe I'm wrong, but I remember that as being terrible. Are there any other examples? It doesn't have to be Bond, but I'm trying to think even outside Bond, are there any good underwater fights? I can't really remember any.
They're quite rarely done. I mean,
exactly, because they're usually
it's hard to do right, but when they are done right,
like when? Well, that's what I'm asking. When has there ever been a good underwater fight in cinema?
Yeah, I don't tend to think of video games, so like I just think of Soma because like it's a great horror setting, but it's just not utilized often enough. You get a great underwater fight in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea with the squid that's partially submerged.
Yeah, that's not even underwater. It's like
I know that. I'm joking. Well, anyway, regardless, with this one, I assume, Tom, you might like this as well. The fact that the lotus kind of mimics like animals in nature, like the ink, like which like destroys like the view of the people pursuing them, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah, I don't think any animal leaves a landmine though, so
well, if you look really, really deep into that, you could say it's like a newt when it escapes by leaving its tail behind. But
maybe. Well, it does leave
yeah,
part of itself behind, so an underwater mine, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, imagine if we deployed that in the middle of the road trip, like,
yeah,
um, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. What
I
this
think
does
it's
lead
right.
to is obviously the very famous scene where Bond, the Lotus, like drives up onto the beach,
I mean,
which is just fantastic.
yeah. You
Um,
get. Did you know that kid is Richard Kiel's
yeah,
son?
of course.
Everyone knows.
More interesting than that, because everyone knows that. More interesting than that is,
They
yeah,
actually
actually,
drove the car out of the water.
no, you've got the guy who does a double take, right? And
And
that's like
the guy
some
in
Italian director, and it's the same guy who you see again in Moonraker and The Living Daylights. He returns in all three to do
the
double
Living
take.
Daylights. For one's he doing?
I
Oh,
think
he
it's The Living
does
Daylights.
double taking a deleted scene, doesn't he?
No, I think I don't know.
Oh no,
Well,
no, no. Those are different
you'll
people.
notice him when you see him, and you realize it's the same guy each time.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
surprised me.
There's
I learned
another.
that from the
I'm thinking of
documentary
a
on that.
deleted scene in the Living Daylights
No,
where.
no, no. It's not that scene.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
another.
know it's not that one.
Or maybe it's in For Your Eyes Only. I can't remember, but you'll recognize him from now. You'll recognize his face. So yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so Bond drives up on the beach and he drops a fish out the window.
Yeah,
I love
like
that.
which
So
somehow got in there, but
so it's so good, man. It's so good. So anyway, Tom, anything to say about the beach entrance?
not
Brilliant.
really. Like, I think it's a bit less over the top than the Bonzola thing, like getting out in Italy,
yeah,
and there's no
Getting on
double
when?
taking.
Sorry.
the gondola
Yeah, the gondola or the
in Venezuela, I
bondola,
Oh
guess
as
it's
it's
yeah,
called.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The other thing is, yeah, like plot wise, the point of them going underwater is just so they can see like, oh, there's a giant control room underneath like
Hmm.
Stromberg's thing. Which actually, come to think of it, that's part of the like crab looking base, but that control room's actually on the Liparis, so
Yeah. So then they
they,
drive back to wherever the hotel, and this is when it's revealed that Anya discovers that Bond killed her boyfriend. So yeah. So then she promises to kill Bond,
yeah, when the
which is a
mission
really
says,
good moment. It's very well written and acted. It's like, yeah, it's such a jokey sort of tongue-in-cheek film, but then you've got this really serious moment where you're like, whoa,
like,
and it
damn,
gets deep because Bond's like, yeah, people get killed. That shit
yeah,
happens. He
it was
basically
him
says
or me,
shit happens.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, it's
still
like
issue.
it does get deep. It's like, yeah, well, you know how it is. I know, he knew, and
I
yeah,
really like. I
yeah, I did.
really,
Although
yeah.
it's weird because how is Bond so certain that he killed him? Because Bond didn't get a look at his face at all.
Well, no, it's she that knows. So like oh well, he was in Austria on a mission, and like
I'm
they know
still,
she knows.
Bond says it with so much authority and confidence, which he can't justify. So I think he wants to believe that, like, yeah, I did kill him. What are you gonna do? Like, sort of thing.
Yeah, I killed him. That means I'm better than
Yeah,
like
exactly. I think he can't be sure of it, but he says it almost as like, yeah, I did kill him. Like, and what
well, if
like
she
sort of
knows
thing.
for sure that he killed this guy,
He
like
can't have known for sure.
no,
No.
no, she knows for sure, and the fact that she says it like that it basically confirms to him because it's like he's like I killed so many people. I
Yeah,
probably your
exactly.
boyfriend. Anyway,
I don't think
saying?
she could possibly know.
I
I
think
mean, you would never know for sure,
well, no, that's
for sure.
convenient though, where it's like, oh, they were both 3 weeks ago in Austria on a mission where this guy was killed by a Western agent skiing. You
Oh
know.
yeah, true.
I think
Also,
Yeah.
like.
Tom, what are you saying?
Yeah. Okay, fair
I
enough then.
think. I think like. One thing that's done
So
well
Bond
is
just
like.
owns it. He's like,
Can
yeah,
you
I did
hear
kill him.
me?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like. I don't know. Like. I like the consequence part of this, and I like
Yeah.
that. I like for at least a bit of this, like Anya actually remains loyal to like her dead boyfriend and wants to avenge him.
Mm.
Like she doesn't like, oh, you killed him. How attractive! I'm gonna absolutely fall for you. And it's like, it's like they did that right when with which they didn't do right with Solitaire. Like she just like had her lifelong like special ability just taken away from her, and then she's like, oh well, I'm gonna absolutely fall for you now, and it's like not gonna be angry or anything or like
Wow.
whatever,
Mm.
Wow.
and yeah.
I never thought I'd see the day where you're like praising Anya and
I'll give credit where
criticizing
credit's
Solitaire.
due.
This is a day in history, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
know. Well, looks wise, different story for me, but
Yeah.
it's
Well,
in
yeah, we
terms
all
of
have different preferences.
yeah.
So.
No, I agree with some though. He's spot on. I think this character development's really good, and it's yeah, it's good to see sort of Bond actually faces some consequences.
Yeah.
And, you know.
I like as well. Like the next thing is like I think the next. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the next scene is they're basically being lowered onto the
Yeah, that's right.
sun. And like
And she
it's
won't
like
even look at him.
after it's like so awkward. They're both like like on the same like pole being lowered down, and like he's like just still all smiles, and she's just like like
Yep. And they're welcome aboard by our very good friend Shane Rimmer,
yeah, he's like
um,
probably
who
like
offers Anya his shower, and for
Yeah,
obvious
then she's
reasons.
like,
And
"Oh,
then we
can
get
I
like Tom
sit?"
said, the guy with the biggest eyes in the world, man.
Yeah,
That was so funny. That guy's like so over the top acting. It's so good, man.
yeah.
You
Well,
can't
for a guy in the
overact
Navy,
that.
man, he
It's
probably
so
hasn't
good.
seen a woman in like 20 years. So
Yeah. These are
let
guys
alone
are
one in the
sailors,
shower.
man. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Um, then the submarine gets hijacked. So very
Just
much in
like
the
the
style of You
beginning.
Only Live Twice. And it's funny because we didn't actually see it get hijacked at the beginning of the film, but this time we did, and it's like, whoa, like okay, um, that was interesting. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I like as well. Like, obviously in You Only Live Twice, they just frog march out like the two guys in the capsule. In
yep.
this in this film, you've got an entire crew in
Mm.
there. They know they're all armed and so on and so forth. Like, so like they get an ultimatum. Like 2 minutes, you're not all out. You're getting like cyanide gas. Destroyed.
Exactly. I mean,
I'm
Henry, what do you
just
do when you've got a long, hard object full of semen on your hands? What do you do?
Kill yourself.
yeah. I don't know. This just reminds me of like the gulf between like the music in You Only Live Twice and this, because I remember when they're getting like marched out, it's like the most brutal kind of sounding music. It's like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing score, isn't
yeah.
it? John Barry. Yeah. I want to mention as well. I mean, the set for the ship. What's it called, Henry? Polaris? Not Polaris.
Yeah, the Polaris is the
Liparis.
missile. Liparis, I think it is.
Right.
Yeah,
The
and
set for that obviously was the interiors on a set in Pinewood Studios, which
yeah, it's the
became known as the.
actual the 007 studio,
That's right.
which was built for this film, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Because
that's right.
it's like it was so gigantic, they were just like, yeah, man, we need to.
It was so big that the set designer couldn't actually see the end of the stage. His eyesight
Yeah,
was failing, and I think this is amazing. I only knew about this from watching the documentary. They
I've seen
actually
the same
brought in
documentary.
Stanley Kubrick. He was on set for 4 hours to give advice how to light the stage.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
yeah. I mean, like, this is like again, this is like because of the plot similarities between this and You and Live Twice, it'll be inevitable there are comparisons. But for this era of Bonds, I mean, they're both great in their own ways. I really like the fact that you have this is literally a giant ship, and you get the interior of like the other three ships in there, like the submarines. And you got the control room. I mean, this is another classic Bond fashion. All the henchmen are wearing like these brightly colored outfits. Yeah, just I mean, I guess it would be difficult to spot them on the screen if they're all wearing like grey, boring military uniforms. So
Man, I thought we
uh,
were going to talk about Stanley Kubrick for a minute. You're not moved by that at all. The fact
it's
that he
cool,
was on
but
set.
I like I
Stanley
mean,
Kubrick,
you're
the
the guy who
director
seen the
of The
documentary,
Shining, A
so
Clockwork Orange, 2001, one of the most legendary film directors of all time, was involved in a Bond film,
yeah,
and
I
they
know.
made it secret. He didn't want to be known. They they sort of snuck him on for like 4 hours, like when everyone had gone home, so he could like put his touch on it. I think that's amazing.
No, but like, what do you know anything beyond what he like anything he specifically helped with? Like the
Literally just to how to light the set because they couldn't work out how to do it.
I mean, it is very cool.
Oh, I think it's amazing, but okay.
Like
I
I mean,
like
I had
there's
forgotten about that, but because I think we yeah
there's so many rip-offs of Untitled Twice in this though. Like, I'm sorry, but like even right down to like when the fight gets going, like you see some people getting blown up, and the way they just kind of fall forwards is by the explosion is literally like the carbon copy, but with like different outfits on the henchmen.
Well, I mean, you know,
and
like if
and
guys are getting exploded, there's only so many ways they can fall, you know.
and like even right down to the impregnable shutters that they get.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Yeah, true. These are shots 2.0 though. These will actually stop.
Yeah, these are actual
It's a lot more believable, and there's like a whole actual thing
Yeah.
about. It's
Yeah,
not just
yeah.
oh, let's take the next right, you know, like go up the stairs, you know, like instead of like they have to like basically
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
get a nuclear bombs like detonators to do this.
Yeah.
Which I think that part is better done in this. I like the fighting in this more. Like it's kind of cool how there's like, you know, ninjas in the previous one. It's more suited to its own film. I don't think you can really say one is better than the other because they're both good for their own
I
respective
think the
films.
only
You can
Twice fight is a bit better because this feels just
easily-
like a bit of a means to an end, and you've got this really. I mean, you've got. I guess we'll talk about it all together a little bit because there's this little guy who like has his little
Yeah.
moment to be a hero or something.
Yeah,
I
this
don't know if this
random
guy's
guy
like the
suddenly
producer's
becomes the
nephew or
focus of the
something
film.
because he's like. It's so weird. He's just like, oh, don't worry, I'll do it, sir.
I
And it's
like
like
it.
Will from the Inbetweeners, man. And he
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gets like blown apart straight away, man. It's just
I
like he's got
actually
this
like it.
music and stuff. Like, who is this guy? He's
I-
dead already. What was
He's
the
the
point?
captain of the
I
British
like it.
ship, I think.
I like it because
I
it's
hate it.
I like it because it's like expectation subversion. Like nowadays, it's like I can't believe I'm saying good things about this, like in this
Hmm.
part, but like this guy who's like you get so many like I don't know American kind of narratives. It's like the beginner who like becomes good after like with
Yeah.
the power of friendship and like and then he wins against all odds. But this film, it's like I'm gonna be a hero, just gets killed immediately, and it's like
Yeah,
and that's
true.
That's
realistic.
realistic, yeah.
Yeah, he like probably gets lit up, man. Like he's getting shot. He's like almost like paralyzed by being shot so much, and then just falls to the ground. And Bond's just down there like, oh, sucks to be him, and then
But
moves on with it.
The only Live Twice is so much better, the action scene, because you get so many like tension moments in it. You get like you get
The
Yeah,
Bond
Bond
shots.
Blofeld and stuff.
Bond
Yeah, the
nearly
stakes
gets
are a bit
shot.
higher.
You get
Stakes.
like Tiger Tanaka doing his whatever, and then like there's like so many good moments in it where you think I know so many good moments of like tension and things happening, and like here it's just like a bunch of goons who aren't really identifiable and these random allies whose names you
Mm.
can't remember, and it's just like it's that but just done worse in all.
I
like,
think.
and
I
the
think the thing
pacing
that I
is
like in
better.
this is in You Only Live Twice. All they have to do is just like you know, drop in, you know, shoot a lot of guards and push a button in the control room. Now you would say that it's similar for this, but the fact that the control room actually can defend itself to the point where it like seals itself off from the rest of the ship, and they have to like have the whole thing where you know Roger Moore gets to do his first of possibly not his last nuclear
Yeah.
like I like the fact they have that scene. It like it breaks up the action in this.
Yeah. It's
Which I
very
like.
tense. Far more. It's funny. I agree with Tom in the fact that You Only Live Twice,
The
but
fighting
but
itself
this
is
isn't really
better.
the climax of the film. The climax of the film is on Atlantis. For me, this serves the plot. I don't really care about the plot in this film. I don't really care about the stakes, to be honest. Like, I don't care that they're in the brink of World War III. I don't give a shit.
They've done it so
Like,
many times, so
yeah, exactly. And it felt, and in a film with this kind of tone, it doesn't really seem to matter so much. I cared a lot more about Bond dying than I did, like, the rest of the world. Or Anya dying. The fact he goes back after, I'm like, yeah, that matters to me in this film as a member of the audience. I don't care about World War III. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a real threat. There's no, like, American guy ready to push the button that we're seeing, like, yeah, the Cold War is
Yeah.
imminent. And there's no, like,
so-
real. It's like, okay, yeah, I just want to reset the world, bring it back to like I'm gonna live underwater and it's just gonna be me and fuck everyone, It's like, okay, cool.
I really
I'm just accelerating the process. When Stromberg explains his plan, it's like, yeah, we've heard this so many times, but you're kind of like, yeah, he's got
It's
a
a
point,
different
man.
spin
We're all
on
gonna
it, I
kill
think.
each other. He's just like, oh, I'm just speeding up the process, man.
One thing I do like about this though is the moment where I only live twice. It's like, oh, I'm gonna ask for a little extortion in advance, and then like it's all about what money or whatever. And Blofeld,
Yeah.
this guy is like, oh, what's your price? Like expecting something, but then he's like, I don't care. I want to kill everyone because I hate everyone. And
Yeah.
there's just like a double take almost. It's like, yeah,
That's true.
this
Yeah,
guy's
it's
just
rejected,
completely.
like secondary school.
This
That's it.
guy's this guy's like barking mad basically, and
Yeah.
won't be negotiated with. And it's like,
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because he is the first Bond villain that doesn't. He's not in it for the money at all.
Well,
That's a really good point. I never thought of that.
actually, Telly Savalas Blofeld didn't care about money, so
Yeah, but he was going for a title,
Yeah, exactly. That was like no, he's like doing side quests at that point.
I was thinking about Telly Savalas when you said that, but I'm like, nah. Henry,
It's
Tom's
not
right. This
to
is
the
like the
same
the
extent,
first
like-
really like batshit crazy Bond villain, man.
Yeah,
This is almost like. Actually, no, I'm not going to say that. But
this
anyway,
is the thing with Stromberg as well, because when I was thinking about it, like if they cast someone else, like it wouldn't. I don't think it would have worked so well, and I think him not going off the rails and like some like deranged rant. It's just what he says is enough, really, just to be like like that's just the facts of the matter, and I'm gonna like destroy the world like this. And it's almost the fact that he's so calm about it, and just says it like that makes it more villainous, I think, because it's just like
But again, I don't really care about his plot. I don't care about his character. It's kind of like, yeah, it's undertone, and I respect that. It's low key, but I'm like, the focus of the film that is so far down the list of priorities for this film. I think when Bond is disarming that bomb, that's really like whoa, because he even says it's like, well, first time for everything, and they're all looking at each other.
Literally, and the
Whoa.
guy next to him, I don't think it was necessary to zoom in on it, but he's just like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
this is how I'm gonna die, man.
you get that really cringy audible gulp as well when he's doing it. It's like,
I know, I liked it. I think this was really
It's
good.
like
It's not Goldfinger levels or Onomatopoeia when he's cracking the safe. It's not on that level, but it is still like, whoa,
Yeah.
And then anyway, Bond goes and he rides that disco ball sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the
to his own theme song, which is cool. The Bond theme returning. Although I don't like the way it just gets cut off. I didn't like that.
Yeah. No, but like I quite like it because like the reason like they couldn't just send a guy out just to shoot him like that because he's literally sitting on top of the thing they used to see people like the cameras, which is quite nice. Like he uses it against them almost.
Yeah.
Like their blind spot. But like he's like trying to swing back away from the bomb and he like gets stuck almost. So he has to,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I like the thing that's good with this is the lack of music in a lot of places. Like it has a theme and then they stop it. I mean, if they kept going with the theme, I don't think it would have been as good.
Yeah. Well,
and also when he's
I think it'd have been cool to see them storming all of them storming the deck, with like to the Bond theme. I think
if it resumes to the Bond theme.
Yeah. I think it was handled well, but could have been done a bit better.
Yeah, but like the best part was the fact they didn't have music during the bomb defusal, like because you have like all you just hear is the metallic like pulling it around and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So anyway, then Bond reprograms the missiles to go and fire at each other, which is like the biggest afterthought ever, man. They're like, oh yeah, World War III's about to say, oh yeah, there's
he
push a few buttons and it's done. Like, oh okay.
It's like World War III's in 4 minutes. Yeah. Picks up the instruction manual, how-to guide.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I don't know. It's funny to think that the captain just has that there just in case.
Yeah.
He has to get his turn to do it while he's going for a piss.
He just looked at like some WikiHow article and
literally. It's like Google's how to disarm, how to stop World War III, whatever.
I like
it's
how
so like matter of fact, which is just.
In this case as well, like Stromberg has like completely dipped as well, like way beforehand
with Anya.
Yeah,
exactly. So you get this really uncomfortable scene where she's like tied to a chair. And he's like,
very perverted, man. Yeah,
you were. Yeah.
And obviously Bond wants to go and save her after stopping World War III, which is very honourable of him.
Well, you forgot the whole place is blowing up and they've got to get out, like classic Bond thing. They do eventually.
Yeah, how do they do it again? I forgot.
They all get
fire a rocket at the front.
Blow up the doors and then leave, basically.
Yeah, whatever. Bond is then delivered like the water version of Little Nelly. The water version of Little Nelly. Which is like they could have made a bit more out of that, but by this point,
what were they going to have other guys on jet skis? Like
it was cool, but I think they could have done a bit more with that. But I guess whatever. Like you can't get Q on the sub, can you? So
Yeah, true.
It is like a nod to Little Nelly, but I think I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's
not like with the water ski, it would have been a lot more difficult because of the like restriction of movement, and obviously you can't get Bond's like cool suit wet, can you?
No, true. So then. Yeah, he buys himself an hour to go and save Anya. By the way, the Shane Rimmer's character, he's the worst negotiator of all time. Oh,
give me an hour. I'm going to lose my job.
Give me 40 minutes. No, all right, I'll give you an hour then. It's like, you had 40 minutes, but anyway. So then Bond boards the Atlantis. He confronts Stromberg, as we said, fills him up with lead. After firing but he's got this gun, which is just the dumbest. I think, Stromberg never used this before. This is his first chance to use it, and he's never tested it even.
He just got it built, like, you know.
Yeah, because if he had, he would have known that sound gives you so much warning to, like, finish your dinner and then move out the way.
Yeah, exactly. Like just finish the third course and just be like,
Yeah.
right, time to get up. You know, like
it is retarded, like because the bullet like goes at 1 mile an hour, and you hear it scraping along the side.
exactly.
But then like,
it's like firing a pinball,
propelled by like a little like gas pellet or something.
And then like when Bond shoots, like the gun not only stops it but travels instantly to like I don't know, Stromberg
And to be
stomach.
fair, in fairness, I'm assuming going back to the man with the golden gun, you know, Stromberg was probably using a custom caliber bullet, so Bond's like pistol obviously has a much smaller barrel, so he'll be firing a smaller bullet. How it shoots?
It feels like this is a bullet which is being propelled by like an actual little propeller on the back. You know?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it just has
like it's been blown along by someone on the other end of with
a straw, you know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so literally an actual blowpipe would have been more effective, you know.
Literally,
He's got like a straw hooked into the table. He's gonna take a sip of my wine. You know, like
yeah, that's right.
He's so crazy about like ocean or whatever. He like has the bullet travel through wharfs or on the
yeah, exactly. It does blow up the chair pretty bad though, man. Like, you know, that would have definitely fucked you up.
Like
if it ever
maybe I don't know. It might have been cooler if, I mean, to be fair, like he's never going to stand up and fight. Like, you know, maybe if he had something harpoon related, perhaps maybe that would have been interesting.
The final shot is like almost as embarrassing as Kananga's though, man. He's like,
true.
His face like he's like against his plate, so it's like
salad. Like he's
a bit
just
undignified.
It is retarded. Like he's like. I don't know what his
you know.
I don't know what his plan was there. He's like, oh no, I'm in shock that after not doing anything, not trying to escape, that this guy just walked up to me and shot me. Like
he was kind of fucked from the start. And I think
it was a big afterthought though. It's kind of like, oh, how are we going to kill him? Do we have something creative?
No,
we've got Jaws in 2 minutes. No one cares. You know?
To be fair, in the mind of Stromberg, he probably wasn't planning on Bond to get up there because because the thing is, they brought back the thing from the start of the film. Bond goes in the lift. You don't know if he knows, like, you know, if he's going to end up in a shark pool or not. But then,
that's true.
Because and you don't see Bond like after he's gotten into the lift. Like, you know, he's like, oh yeah, goodbye, Mr. Bond. You know, opens the thing. Like the shark, it looks like he's like gonna go and eat. You know, but then Bond turns the top and he's like, how is he there? And then it like pans down. And he's like just holding onto like the sides of the lift. You know.
Mm-hmm.
With the gun out as well.
Of course. So anyway, he kills Stromberg. Then he goes and fights Jaws. Pretty cool scene. Obviously magnetizes the big magnet onto his teeth and then picks him up and drops him in with the shark. Jaws kills the shark.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Which is quite a funny, ironic take as well, like Jaws killing Jaws.
Yeah.
But although the shark's not actually called Jaws, but you know.
Yeah. Fun.
So yeah. That's a pretty cool fight. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he finds Triple X.
He goes and rescues Anya.
And then they get into Stromberg's like 1% pods just to escape.
Yeah,
his battle submarine, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Just like wait, that looks like the most like comfortable escape.
Yeah, his luxury, it's very nice. Yeah, even got champagne in it and everything.
Yeah, so man, if I had been Stromberg and I'd heard news, I'd be like, "Fuck this, man! I'm getting in this thing and leaving."
Yeah, man. So anyway, they wash up in front of the the whole delegation of MI6.
Well, you know, you had the little bit of tension though, where like,
Bond.
You don't
really have a fourth act in this film, and if you do, this is the fourth act. It's kind of like, and that's really clever because it's not like. I mean, Jaws is at the end, but it's kind of like, okay, you know,
more just to be like,
it's not such a big shock, but this is a shock. You're like, oh yeah, shit. She's like, the mission is over, Mr. Bond. It's like, whoa, and then she shoots the cork, which is a bit like, it does cheapen her a lot, I think. But it is a Roger Moore Bond film. She's not going to kill Bond, which would have been the realistic thing to do.
Well, in fairness, it's true that he killed her.
Although he did save her life. So.
But he saved her life, so it's like, you know, it certainly lessens the blow a lot. And also the fact that, you know, her boyfriend's like a spy as well. Like either one could kill each other. So, and I think she knew that deep down. That wasn't enough to kind of like, like
yeah.
no, like
Yeah.
that initially knowing that wasn't enough to kind of deal with it. But then saving her life, probably was a bit more of a deal, like a deal maker, I guess, in this case.
I wonder if she didn't think about that on the spot, or I don't know. Nah, she can't have thought that. Oh, she must have done that on
Maybe
the spot.
like
I
maybe
don't
she
know.
saw like Roger Moore like doing his most like like most like I don't know pulling face just like with like the champagne. He's like, well, might as well. Maybe even if you want to look at it this way, perhaps she once was just gonna like bang him, kill him, and then like get
Ooh.
on with it. But she couldn't kill
Ooh.
him when they turned up to the.
Ooh, interesting. I
Yeah,
wonder as well. My
I don't.
theory is,
That's definitely not how it was, but it'd be interesting.
oh no, it'd be funny, wouldn't it? Like praying mantis style, like.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe she was like she planned that from a while ago. She wanted to fuck with him, like after
Yeah, she
the
planned
after.
this whole film out. Her
Yeah,
budget.
yeah, yeah. I think she kind of like she decided after she said she's gonna kill him. She said, "Nah, I won't kill him, but I will fuck with him." After this mess, I'm gonna like do a fake out, and then that was her chance. If we're giving her credit for like saying she's got a sense of humor, maybe there was that.
Maybe it was. Maybe that might actually be the case.
That's kind of the nicest version I could think of. But anyway, and then obviously, of course, they're all looking at like, oh, 007, oh,
Because they
triple
think it
X,
might be a
oh,
threat. They're like, oh, it could be Stromberg in there. When they do see it, they're both like, fucking
yeah,
getting it on, and then
bunch of old men looking in there like, oh,
yeah, like Q in the back as well.
yeah, and then it's keeping the British end up, so
Yeah, it's like, what are you, 007? Like, what are you doing? He's like, giving the British end up, so and he like pulls the curtain.
yeah. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. So this is going to be very, very, very interesting. We're going to start ranking the various elements within the Bond film up against each other. So let me just open up the rankings. Okay, Bond actor. Number 1, Sean Connery. Number 2, Roger Moore. Number 3, George Lazenby. I think it's at this point we can move Roger Moore to number 1, right?
No.
This is tough, really. Like, I was originally like on the side of Tom for this. Like, I was never going to put Roger Moore at the top, but it's really, really difficult for me to think. Like, at this point, because he's kind of like, this is like peak Roger Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
I
put
think
him up.
the thing is, you're prolonging the inevitable because
No,
he's
thing
going
is,
to end up number 1.
I will put him at the top for now, but I'm taking his whole like tenure into like consideration
It's
because
not like he's going to exactly. It's because we know what's coming. But I think this is like
that's
this
what I
is
mean.
really
Like, I
Roger
think
Moore
it
announcing
does.
himself as we know it. So
It has like ups and downs. So
no, he's perfect in this film. He's
he's
immaculate.
no in this
I'm
film
sorry.
he's literally like peak Roger
We
Moore.
have to point out that under Roger Moore's tenure, though, the
It's him as a Bond though, not
no
as
no 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 Sean Connery's era was like Bond being the trendsetter, which everyone else like tried to copy. In Roger Moore's, like it goes pretty weak. Like Bond films start trying to hop on trends and stuff, like this with Jaws, Live and Let Die, Blaxploitation, Man of the Golden Gun, like Bruce Lee, like Octopussy, Indiana Jones kind of. You get like so
Moonraker and
many
Star Wars.
Moonraker. Yeah, it's just like I think that kind of nothing against Roger Moore, but I don't think you can just put like the man who basically made Bond like just throw him under the bus that easily, and then you get I don't know. I just feel like you get better acting from Sean Connery, and whereas like.
But do
And
you think?
in
I always
terms of my
assumed you thought Roger Moore's a better Bond than Sean Connery. Do you not think that then?
No, like
Oh.
I've always said Sean Connery was like my favorite, and I wouldn't.
Oh, I never realized that. I always assumed Roger Moore for some reason.
This is
I
so
mean, my
tough.
favorite.
Oh, wow. Okay, this is more interesting than I thought. Wow.
If I
Okay.
had to like
Really, I'm gonna wait till after Octopussy, and then I'll ask you again.
as a like the thing is like as like his acting
I'm very firmly in the Roger Moore camp.
this
I
is
think
peak
it's not
Roger Moore
surprising.
like we said before, but I mean this is as my personal preference for Bond, he is not up there. I would probably have to put him second in this case because I like at least at this point, I might change my mind further down the line.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. It's
But
majority vote. We'll come back to it.
because I like Timothy Dalton as well. I like more
Huh.
serious Bonds, personally speaking.
And Sean Connery is a lot more serious than Roger Moore. Like,
Well, Sean
to me-
Connery's like
Yeah, no one's debating that. But
Sean
I
Sean Connery has like the trio of like the romance, even though he does beat women, like like being a brute and also like being like having the charm at the same
I
time.
think like that's the thing with Sean Connery though. He is like the perfect like balance of like comedy and being like a killer as well and being charming as well. Like
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
the main problem with Sean Connery is like his relationship with women, because you can't watch any of his films without like if you're watching it with your mate who hasn't seen a Bond film before, you just have to be like explaining away some dumb shit he does. Like
yeah, but
like,
it's not like Sean Connery wrote those scenes. That was like the writer.
Yeah, but it's not like
It's not-
it wasn't like he was trying to deny them either, man. He was he was like, yeah, I
Yeah,
hit
but
women.
that's-
I
but
like
that's-
hitting women.
Yeah, but that's more on that's more on the actual actor rather than the actual the portrayal of the character,
Wow.
which we have to
oh,
distinguish.
this is a word.
Yeah, but that's the point. Sean Connery himself does not make a difference. He's actually kind of proud of it.
Yeah, but why should he? Like this
We'll
is
return
Daniel
to we'll
Craig.
return to this later on.
Yeah. We'll
So
return
for
to
now, Roger Moore is second, but it might
it.
change.
All
Literally,
right.
depending
This,
on.
this battle is not over, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you
Bond
still are
Girl.
gonna have to do some serious convincing with me. So
Bond Girl, going to be very interesting now. Number 1, Tracy. Number 2, Domino. Number 3, Honey Rider. Number 4, Miss Anders. Number 5, Tatiana. Number 6, Aki and the Wife. Number 7, Pussy Galore. Number 8, Tiffany Case. Number 9, Solitaire. Number 10, Mary Goodnight. Where are we putting Anya Amasova, Agent Triple X?
I'm gonna be controversial here and go for second.
What?
I agree.
I know, like she's so poorly delivered. Like she's monotone and not. She detracts from the film in most cases. She's like not Russian.
So
and
then
she-
Where would you put then?
I put her like above Tiffany Case and Solitaire because, as I mentioned, like she has this character and she doesn't immediately fall for Bond, which is a bit more realistic. But other than that, like her delivery just kind of lets down. She's very like monotone.
I think her
and, like,
delivery's quite good though.
not really. Like,
think
what
it's the fact
about
that-
it?
Like they're back and
It's-
forth and stuff, and when she's talking about her boyfriend being killed and stuff, like I think her delivery's quite good.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
like,
only
And look,
that moment.
her competition is not very stiff either.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
is, to be
Domino
fair,
and
like-
Honey Rider and stuff, man. It's like, what do they do, man?
Domino
terms
has
of-
like good character development because
I would not. I would
Anya's way better. The whole point of Anya, she has great character development. She has like a genuine,
stake
like
in
she's
the film.
she's three-dimensional character.
yeah,
That's what I
but
like.
Anya Amasova is a spy and an agent. She doesn't like progress as much as Domino does, who goes from like a kept woman basically to actually killing the main villain. So I think avenging her brother and like
That's
I
true.
think she's better in that sense.
Mm,
She has more progression.
But I still think I'd put.
but Domino's
And
relationship
it's-
with Bond is not as good. I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's like, oh yeah, my brother's been killed, and it's just like and he just like puts on the don't care glasses. But then even though obviously it's maybe him trying to hide his emotion. But anyway, I think and also I would definitely not agree that she detracts from the film, because I mean it's literally called the Spy Love Me. Like a lot of the film revolves around her. In a way.
Yeah, exactly. That's
And
the
I
thing.
think-
I think the plot is a pretty side issue. Like the World War III stuff is like, well, whatever, it's more about their relationship actually, in a way. That's more important. I mean, it's not that. It's just higher up on the list. I think. Yeah, I mean, I think she goes. It's weird because I don't really. She's not the second best Bond girl on this list in a way, but then. Oh, it is a bit of a tough one. I think. Yeah, I think second is. None of these are. I'm looking down the list. Domino, Honey Rider,
It's
Miss
like you go
Anders.
Tracy, then the dotted line starts.
Yeah, I think she goes. Yeah, I think second's. It does feel a bit high, but she won't stay second ultimately.
Yeah, we know this. So
Although there are really that many better than her.
But there are loads better.
Bond isn't
than-
well known for
Well, we need to put. I don't want this to go on all day. Let's. I think you and me both said second, right?
yeah. I'm
If
calling
you
it.
get Roger Moore second, yeah, I'm putting Triple X second, man. Fuck it. Although her name now I've written Triple X, I'm kind of like, maybe she's maybe she is lower. I don't know. It's not really.
We
Stiff
can revisit
competition.
this again at some point, maybe at the very
Yeah,
end.
Okay,
Like
the villain.
big,
That's a big pick.
bad decision.
Blofeld Double Pleasance, number 1. 2, Goldfinger. 3, Blofeld Telly Savalas. 4, Scaramanga. 5, Dr. Kananga. 6, Dr. No. 7, Rosa Klebb. 8, Emiliana Largo. 9, Charles Grey Blofeld. Where are we going to rank Stromberg? Even forgot his name just then.
I might put him above Largo, actually.
Are you joking? Like,
What
Largo's-
does Largo do in the entire?
Largo's cool. He's got an eye patch.
He's got an eye
And
patch, but that's
he has
it. Like,
he has way better delivery than Stromberg as well. And he does more, and he's like, I don't know. I think he adds to Thunderball.
man, he gets cucked like the first time he sees Bond. That's like,
Yeah, true.
like it's not like the casting. Like we went through this in Thunderball. The casting for him is fantastic. Like he looks like
Yeah,
like
true.
if you think Bond villain, you would think of like someone like him, but he does nothing throughout the whole film. Like he's like.
I think he's probably just goes 9th though. I think he goes Stromberg goes, but I mean Lisa Largo's got an eye patch. That is cool.
All right, yeah. I'm not gonna die on a hill for Stromberg. Like this isn't like this isn't like.
I think he goes
double digits,
9th,
like bottom
below
right.
Largo, above Charles Grey.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll call it
Okay.
that. At least he can wear a grey suit, like Charles Grey's like.
All right,
logo, man.
Henchman. Number 1, Odd Job. Number 2, Red Grant. Number 3, T. He and Co. Number 4, Bunt. Number 5, Winston Kid. Number 6, Knick Knack. Number 7, Fiona. Number 8, Hans. Where are we putting Jaws?
This is tough because based on preference, you can only go first, second, or third. Even.
Mm.
I would wish to
No,
put him third though. Personally,
I think
Ooh.
Red Grant, man. Like
Ooh. Big shout, Henry. What do you think, Tom?
you put like, didn't you put Odd Job above Red Grant?
Yeah, Odd Job's number 1 and 2 is Red Grant.
I think if you're going to put like Odd Job above Red Grant, then you basically default have to put Jules above
Yeah.
it because he's just like so
So would you put
Roll-
Jaws first or second, Tom?
first.
this is the thing, right?
Easy.
Like
very,
this, I'm gonna
very
make my case.
close.
This with
I would not put him third.
the
I'm
only
debating
reason
if he's
why I
better than
put
Odd Job though.
with Odd Job, right? Odd Job is kind of like he's at the same time kind of like slightly like over the top, like in terms of like how as a henchman, but at the same time he's also like quite a serious character, like a serious threat really. Whereas like Red Grant's side shies more to the side of being serious, like a serious threat. Whereas Jaws is he's a threat, but at the same time he's more of like a cartoonish villain. And like Odd Job is kind of like meets in the middle of that.
Well, Henry, who would you rather fight?
Who would I rather fight? Jaws I could get away from. Red Grant. will
Jaws
hunt
is
me.
fucking your shit up, man. You're
No,
joking.
no. Jaws. If he's okay, if you're in a room with him, he will kill me. But
Exactly.
you can get away from him, like as is like
No,
easily
you
shown.
couldn't. Jaws
Yeah,
would
you can, man. They get away.
murder
Get
you.
away with him so many times, man. Like
Jaws would murder you, bro.
no. Think about this. In From Russia with Love, Red
And-
Grant spends the entire film just basically like closing in on Bond. Bond has no idea. Gets in the same like room with him, and that's like the only way to stop him is to kill him. With Jaws, they're like
Jaws
like
as well, Henry,
They
doesn't
get
die
away
in
with-
this film. Odd Job and
True.
Red Grant do. They
Yeah,
don't.
but like the thing is, if you're going to put Odd Job above him because he's iconic or whatever, then you have to do that with Jaws.
Yeah. I think we can do this because I don't
I
want to
prefer
spoil future
serious
films, but
thrills,
Jaws
not-
may or may not return. So I think we could put Jaws in at second for now, and then we can move him number 1 after Moonraker because he is
and-
sick in Moonraker. isn't he?
I will say the reason why I'm fighting for Red Grant's corner here is because I prefer like the serious like over the comedic.
Oh, really? I'd put Jaws number 1 straight away. Actually, I've second guessed myself. You'd say number 1, Tom, as well?
Yep.
Yeah, I back that because I know after Moonraker, he sells it in Moonraker. He's even better in Moonraker. Yeah, he's
I mean,
got to go.
I'm not sad to have Jaws at the top. I love all of them. So
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now another interesting one. The car/vehicle. Number 1, Aston Martin DB5. Number 2, gyrocopter. Little Nelly, I should write there actually, not gyrocopter. And number 3, the moon buggy. Where are we ranking the Lotus Esprit?
Hmm.
Tom?
It's quite tough. I mean, I'll let you two talk about it first. Then I'll probably just base my.
I'm very much on the fence here. I'd probably put it either second or third.
Same.
I think it goes below Listen Lily.
This is like a yearning twice war, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is,
like,
isn't
I-
it?
yeah, it completely is. But
Okay, what do you
Little
think,
Nelly's-
Henry? Above or below Little
Just
Nelly?
thinking of the scene that it's in. The Little Nelly scene is super fucking cool with like the Bond music as well.
Yeah, I think it does go below Little Nelly
But
as well.
the fact
actually.
that I can't even defend the Lotus against this.
Lotus is very cool, but Little
Not
Nelly
quite there,
is
though.
like, oh, that's levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There didn't need to be any progression for the Little Nelly scene. It was just cool already. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Lotus goes third then. Like, no slight on the Lotus. We know it's cool, but Little Nelly's like, yeah.
no,
Okay.
we're gonna have
M
to
is
make
still number one. Bernard Lee, Desmond Llewellyn, and Lois Maxwell.
Max.
MQ and Moneypenny. The ally / Felix Leiter. We don't really have an ally in this film, I don't think, do we? No, we
General Gurgle. No.
Yeah, actually, because Goggle recurs. Yeah, we should rank him now then. Number one, Draco and Campbell. Number two, Tiger Tanaka. Number three, Coral and Lysa. Number four, Coral Jr. and Lysa and Strutter. Number five, Karen Bay. Number six, Lysa and Goldfinger. Number seven, Lysa and Thunderball. Number eight, Hip. And number nine, Lysa and Diamonds Are Forever. Where are we going to put General Goggle?
I'll put him above Karen Bay.
I think he goes below Karen Bay.
Yeah, I think he goes below, man. Goggle sucks.
He doesn't suck, but like he's not. Like, Karen Bay, give him a little bit of credit.
Yeah, he's got a bit of personality.
Oh,
I think it's fair to put him sixth, below Karen Bay, but above the various Felix Leiters.
Yeah.
Okay. General Goggle, man.
Yeah, they give him
Uh,
a fucking stupid name though.
Yeah,
Goggles.
exactly.
Makes me think of like swimming goggles, man.
Yeah, exactly. All right, the gadget. Do we have gadget in this film really? Like a main gadget?
There's a lot of them, to be fair.
Yeah, but they're all like very
Bond
quick. There's no
uses a
focus
nuke.
on any of them.
Hey, Han, the jet ski, man, that's pretty cool.
That's
It's
a
not
vehicle.
gadget. Yeah,
You have the watch where like
You
he
can
gets
carry it.
right
If
at the
you can
beginning.
carry
Yeah, I
it,
was thinking the watch,
gadget.
but it's there for like one thing. It just delivers a message. It's not that cool or important.
Now, all I'll think about, I think it may be a vehicle, but at the same time you can carry it. You can say the jetpack was a vehicle as well. So
What jetpack? From Thunderball.
I think he's referring to that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, it's not even in the rankings. I think we skipped this one because there isn't really a gadget, which is weird because Spy Love Me, you think this would be the best film for a bot gadget, but actually there aren't really any. They're all in the Lotus.
oh well, how about his ski pole gun?
Ooh, well, I think we just nominate for the sake of it now. I don't think
His
whatever we do
parachute.
nominate won't finish high, so it's not much point. Let's go on with the theme song. Number one, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Number two, the James Bond theme. Number three, Live and Let Die. Number four, Goldfinger. Number five, You Only Live Twice. Number six, The Man with the Golden Gun. Number seven, Thunderball. Number eight, Diamonds Are Forever. And number nine, From Russia with Love. Where are we ranking Oscar nominated? Nobody does it better.
I think
Above
nobody
Thunderball,
does.
maybe?
I think nobody does it worse when it comes to Bond songs.
Ooh.
Like,
Ooh. Okay, you winning at 10th.
yeah, it just has like
Really?
Savage from Tom. Wow. Shit. What are you saying, Henry?
Maybe above or below Thunderball.
I think like you do get film songs that are like worse and even more dreary than this later, but for now, like this one takes the cake. Like, what do you remember? Like, it's the only reason it's memorable because it comes after a good action scene. That's it. Like this. That's
I
it.
don't know, I kind of like
the
the
actual-
swell of like,
like
high heaven above me, the spy love me. I don't know. I think
as a song on its own, it's all right.
I'd put it a lot higher actually. I'd probably put it maybe even above You Only Live Twice, below Goldfinger.
Nah, man, you're high. Like, You Only Live
Oh.
Twice is like a reoccurring like kind of like motif in the
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't really care about it that much, man. I think I've got Nobody Does It Better on my Spotify playlist, and I don't have You Only Live Twice. That's kind of my thinking on it.
Don't care, man. I'm bringing it down regardless.
All right, so okay, we'll meet
I
in the
think
middle. With Henry
I think
then.
I'm in
So
the more like,
you basically,
cool.
I would put it fifth. Tom would put it 10th. So Henry, you have the casting vote, really.
Where's Thunderball? 7th.
Yeah.
I'd put it below Thunderball.
Ooh, okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
So actually, roughly right in the middle of your two picks, but that's
Yep.
where I was going to put it anyway. So
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, the opening
This is-
pre-title sequence. Wow. Number 1, Goldfinger. Number 2, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Number 3, The Man with the Golden Gun. I don't think I need to go much further, man. Is this going number 1 or 2?
Number 2, I think.
then James, you're going to put it number 1, I'm assuming.
Oh,
so difficult, though.
Oh, it is so close.
Well, Bond doesn't use a woman as a human shield in this, so
Oh yeah, I forgot that happens. Yeah, this goes number 1 then. Yeah, this.
yeah,
is
I'm going to have
better.
to go with
Yeah,
it too.
yeah.
Just thinking about it, like,
And
You're not gonna. You
I
think
mean,
this is better
the thing
than-
is with Goldfinger is like, the thing is with Goldfinger is it sets up like who Bond is perfectly.
mm,
I think we should readjust it a bit because I think On Her Majesty's Secret Service opening is really good.
yeah, it's good, but it's not like really that cool, is it? It's like,
It is.
I mean, it is
Yeah.
cool, but not like this is just so action packed. It's so good, man.
Yeah,
And
This
it's
is
the
like a
first of
Bond
many as well. Tom, think about the opening for Moonraker, and Octopussy, and A View to a Kill, and
The credit.
the ones that we're about to, I cannot wait, man.
The credit
So
for
this
those
won't
films
really
openings goes to
remain
those
first.
films,
It
though.
could do, but we're getting some really good ones coming
Mhm.
up now. So good. Shakespeare is
I
smiling
think we'll
down.
put it at number 1. Like,
Yeah, I agree. Okay, the Sigma moment, millionth trademark ranking here.
I'm a recluse maybe.
No, it's got to be England needs me, like.
Yeah. So does
uh,
England.
Yes, so does England.
What about cancel payment of $20 million?
Oh, I
Or
think that's being a bit like tight though. That's being a bit pikey rather than like.
yeah,
It's
you don't
funny.
believe it, like
Just give him the money, man.
It's funny though, like
I
he's
think
just like,
England needs me is probably the more Sigma.
yeah. Well, it's like James, I need you. So does England. Dun, dun,
Yeah, yeah. Although I don't think it will go that high though. The current rankings: number 1, Goldfinger, I Own the Club. Number 2, Red Grant. Number 3, Blofeld's Extortion. Number 4, Doctor No. Number 5, Tracy, I'm Already Countess. Number 6, Scaramanga, saying Mr. Fat has resigned. I'm the chairman of the board now.
Why is that so low?
That should be a bit high, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, number 7, Blofeld, Prepare My Battle Submarine. Number 8, David Niven. Number 9, Names Are for Tombstones, Baby. Number 10, For King and Country. That quote for England is a little bit like King and Country, but
This
I don't
is
know.
way better. Like,
It's better.
I would genuinely say this is arguably like maybe below or above Blofeld's Extortion.
Hmm.
I
What
think
for
it's
England?
lower than
I
that.
mean, yeah, England. So does England.
Yeah,
I think
so
it's
does
below
England.
that.
You're literally rejecting banging someone for his country,
True.
But that's like.
Well, I
compare
think he's
that
already
to-
laid down the pipe. That's the thing. So he's done. If it was before, no chance, man. But I think he's already done. He's already kind of had his fun. He's
No,
like,
but
okay,
it's
he
just
could
like-
go
no,
for
it's
round
like- it's
two,
literally-
but he's like,
like,
nah, all right.
He's
That's,
dipping, man. And the thing is with like you can't really compare it to King and Country because that was like a massive cope like by Sean Connery.
yeah, true. That was a cope. I think what sells it for me is the little like, the
the
harmonica.
little like music cue, man.
Mouth organ, man. Oh, like from The Great Escape,
Yeah.
something like that. It's like
It's so like it's like
Yeah, it's
borderlining on being bad, but
Alright.
it's so good.
Okay, so what do you think, Tom? Where does it go? There's a Sigma moment.
I think I find you might be shocked at this, but I find the little organ thing pretty cringe. Like when I hear it, like
It's so I know that's the thing. It's like borderlining on being cringe, but it's just good, just right.
This is all like tongue in cheek. We've done this with like the Saw films, Tom. We've extracted Sigma moments. I mean, there is a very dark Sigma.
Yeah,
Actually, there's two. I don't apologize for this section at all. I think it goes. It's tough, man. Our actual rankings are terrible as well. They're so all over it. Why is Red Grant second?
Rick Grant is a Sigma male, man. He doesn't care.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely not going above Goldfinger, so maybe
I
think it goes. I
it could
think
go
it
anywhere,
goes,
really.
I think it goes below Scaramanga because like Scaramanga, that's a pretty like similar
Yeah.
thing.
That's kind of where I'm thinking more
I
in the
think
middle.
Scaramanga should be raised. I think.
Yeah, but then Tracy's Sigma, Doctor No's Sigma as well. So
Yeah, they-
Well,
I
all
think
right,
like
I think
the thing
Maybe
with
above
so does
Tracy, then?
England. Oh, it's tough. I think it goes above Scaramanga actually, and maybe Tracy.
yeah, I
I'm-
think because then Doctor Knows are just straight up flexing on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Brokey Bond.
Being a Sigma male is, although the Sigmas really flex. I don't know because this is
Yeah.
this is why Goldfingers is the best because he
I own the
flexes, but
club.
not as a flex. He just says it like matter of fact, like yeah, I own the club, like you know.
This is like
mm,
I think
yeah,
this
it is turning
by
down. It
definition
is turning
very
down. Oh, it's tough, man. I don't know.
I think Scaramanga's thing is like more of an alpha thing rather than Sigma, because like he's just like
No,
basically
he's just
just
killed his like
bulldozed-
business rival or his boss, really, then acquired his company.
yeah, that's
I don't know. We need to make our minds up. Henry, what do you? Henry,
I'm
just
putting it above Tracy.
okay, and below Doctor No.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is just a collection of funny moments, really.
Yeah.
Like, the ranking isn't so important. All right. So does England.
So does England.
It is good.
one thing
All
I
right.
do. I like the satisfaction with how Tracy delivers the. But I'm already a countess.
Because I'm already a
thing,
countess.
Sigma female.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the film itself. Now this is getting it spicy.
This is yeah.
Uh,
I was debating with
and
myself.
we're like not really far away from 3 hours, so let's not get that. All right. Number 1, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Number 2, Goldfinger. Number 3, You Only Live Twice. Number 4, The Man with the Golden Gun. Number 5, Live and Let Die. Number 6, Doctor No. Number 7, From Russia with Love. Number 8, Thunderball. Number 9, Diamonds Are Forever. Number 10, Casino Royale. Now, before we say anything, I want you each just to give me a number of where you would put this, and then we'll go and explain it. I want to hear all your numbers first, though. I'll start. I would put it 3rd.
Are you insane? I'd put it like 8th or something. 9th. I'd put it above Diamonds Are Forever, and that's it.
Okay. Henry?
Or 4th.
Are you Are you like
Above or below You and Live Twice?
Are you on crack or something? Like this film just rips so many things cheaply off You and Live Twice. How can
Look
it
at the
is
budget.
cheap? It is
They
cheap.
built a whole
Look,
studio.
Look,
just
that's
for
it.
this film.
That's it. I'm sorry, but you are comparing what models for like some crappy shit, some generic shit, some villain.
Man, I would have thought
HQ.
you'd love this. It's all about sea life, man.
I don't care. I don't care if it's done badly. Like this thing is like the model like for the Atlantis is it's a model. They made the whole set for the volcano base, which is more than Doctor No itself in terms of they
but
put
you
so
forget
much.
they made the entire interior of the Liparis, man.
Yeah, they literally got the 007
But
thing.
they had
acquired
to
in
build a new
Pinewood.
stage at Pinewood to make this
The
possible.
thing is, Tom, like what you're missing. I know what you're saying, but the thing is, this is the point of Bond. They're doing the same thing but different each time. That's the whole
But
thing.
this is a bit too much like samey as You and Live Twice. The
Mm,
villain in
like you
You and
got
Live
like a
Twice is better.
fantastic ski chase though at the start, like
oh
So
yeah,
what?
that
That's
amazing stunt, you know. Like I know
that's
George
only
Lazenby thought of it, but they couldn't do it then.
that's an
But
intro,
the-
and we're talking about You and
Yeah.
Live Twice versus this.
and the
Not
thing is, yeah, we're like directly now comparing You Only Live Twice and The Spy Love Me. But Tom, you would have it way below The Man with the Golden Gun, Live and Let Die, Doctor No, From Russia with Love. And you're like you're actually comparing it with like Thunderball and Diamonds Are Forever. It is not that bad.
it is bad. Like
I
so
think
many
it's like
goofy
a
elements
comfortable
and
3rd for me. It's close to
not-
You Only Live Twice, but I think I would rather watch this. If you throw me on a desert island and you give me the choice between Spy Love Me and You Only Live Twice, I would go with Spy Love Me for
Yeah,
sure.
but you're not on a desert island, are you? You're
Yeah,
just
but
like
I would have to agree with him with this though. This is the thing.
I don't understand like the
'Cause I used to be on your side here, but then upon rewatching, I was like, actually, most of what I didn't like isn't actually true in this game.
you got the role defining Blofeld. You got a really great Bond ally. You
yeah,
got
this is
really
the thing
good
that does
really
go
good
against the Spy
suspense.
Love Me. I was
you
waiting for you
get-
to pull that card because
and
yeah,
you
the
have-
villain like really holds this film back a lot.
And I just think like, you
Mm.
get so many good characters.
bungle.
You get like Osato. You get like I don't know. You just get so many.
Man, you got jaws in this
you
film,
get-
man. You
yeah,
forget
but
that.
that's
You got
the one.
hands and you're in this twice.
That's the one caveat. Like, and you get like gadgets and stuff, and you get little Nelly. You get like really cool like action. I don't see
Well,
how.
I mean, Sean Connery's not too happy to be in that film either. I will point that.
Well,
out.
This is the
actually,
thing. As a Roger
Moore,
Moore fan,
top of his game.
I think because this is the thing. This is like if we go way back to when we did the Goldfinger episode, or Untitled Secret Service. There are two types of Bond fans. They're the ones that prefer like larger than life, like extravagant sort of Bond films, and then there's like like a Roger Moore sort of Moore fan, and then you've got the other side of people that prefer like a Untitled Secret Service, like dark,
like me.
serious, and that's kind of the debate we're having here. Even though these both have the same director, and they're both similar. But I think for me, like as like a huge fan of Roger Moore and like his films, I think, and this film embodies for me everything about Roger Moore's Bond, as well as Moonraker and Octopussy and A View to Kill. But this one is the first one that really does it. So
yeah. So what if it's the first one? Like you don't really get you don't. I don't know. Like it's I don't know. It just so many things. It had like the advantage over your end of twice. Think about it like that. 10 years advantage and had that to like compare itself to consciously while being made, and then it still kind of falls flat in like so many more
I don't
areas.
think it fell flat.
I mean, like think about it as well. Like one thing I think of with You Only Live Twice is if I'm gonna sit down and watch that, there's a lot of stuff in it which I kind of don't care about. There's the whole scene dedicated to like him getting married for undercover shit.
Yeah.
Like there's also Helga Brandt takes him. Like,
Helga Brandt's
they
funny.
kidnap him. Have this weird, like, not even interrogation torture scene that goes nowhere. Then she puts him in a plane, and then he,
Yeah,
like,
but that's really
jumps out or whatever.
that's more like comedy where it's like, oh, you'll meet the best man we've got. Who do you suggest? Like, well, me. And then
Yeah, that's quite funny. But that's just one line in the whole thing.
and you get the music in You Only Live Twice is really good as well. Like really, you get like the really
you do
good
get the
like,
Bond theme in it, speed.
and you get the location as well. That's like really well done in You Only Live Twice. Like they play into like all like Japan and everything really nicely, and I just don't think it just isn't fair to put this above it at all. Like not at all in my opinion. The one caveat is like Jaws, and that's it for me. Like that's literally it.
To be fair, you got me thinking, man. Like You Only Live Twice was really good.
But this is the thing is though, like we're not so far, but like, it's a question of third or fourth, really.
You put the suspense and the climax is way better in You Only Live Twice, like, and you get like I know the stakes feel so much higher, and
that's true. That's a good point. If I have to be honest with myself as well, I didn't give a fuck about the plot in this film. In You Only Live Twice, the plot matters a lot more, but I think that's kind of almost a strength in a way. Like I mean, that's the kind of the thing with Roger Moore films. The plots don't really matter. It's more about the characters, right?
Is it more about? I know, like it comes to a lot of films where it's like, is it more about Bond or is it more about the plot? Like in Untitled Secret Service, it's more really about Bond because you don't really.
Yeah.
Blofeld in his plot is not that important.
Yeah, it's
so much as him and Tracy, like.
You just get like better moments as well in that thing, like where Bond.
We're going to talk about moments in this. You got a train fight, a ski chase, a car chase which goes through 4 stages.
Yeah, so what you get gadget laden vehicle chases in loads of Bond films. Like you get but you get Bond meeting Blofeld
even if we put this
for the first time.
Well, it's not going to stay third. It's going to like we have some really good Bond films coming up, so like this isn't set in stone. I just want to hear why you think it's worse than like Dr. No From Russia with Love. Like man,
From Russia with Love is really really good. Like that like plays into the Cold War thing
but it's
really
not a patch on the Spy Love Me. I mean, you're telling me you'd rather watch. Like, you go to a desert island, man. Like, you'd take From Russia with Love You before you took The Spy Love Me with you.
Yeah, we're not talking about desert island.
No, but
that's what I'm saying. This is a fair way of like evaluating both of them. Like,
it's not really.
Do you like more? Which one do you prefer?
It's not really fair though, because you're only comparing it in like terms of raw entertainment value rather than like complex
Not really, because like I don't know. I mean, my favorite film. I really do judge films like that. Like and my favorite film is Seven.
Yeah, you would take that to Desert Island if you had to pick it.
But yeah, and I would take Seven to the Desert Island. I would take Blade Runner to the Desert Island before any of the most entertaining films because it just. But that's just kind of the way I like. Or like it's like with, and it doesn't have to be films. It could be with music or whatever. Or if you could only watch one sport again or eat one cuisine again, which one? We're getting really deep and philosophical here about ranking The Spy Love Me.
I'd still say From Russia with Love, even if I had to
Okay.
take that with me onto.
I think I'm settled on. I mean,
I think I still inspire. I do love You Only Live Twice, but I think it does sag in areas. I mean, Charles Gray, you know.
So what if flipping
I think
Charles
it's-
Gray? That's like
you need to lean, Tom. You know how you would pitch me if you lean on Blofeld a bit more,
yeah, well below
because that is the biggest difference.
it's such a
Ooh.
big difference.
but Blofeld's
like,
kind of.
you've
Ooh,
got.
I don't know, man. I'm really like,
if
I'm
you
really in
consider
the.
it, though, like,
I could go
all
either
he
way
does in
here
that-
now.
Did you
I mean, if
forget
you
like?
consider that all he does in that film is kind of like he gets the moment where he says, "You only live twice, Mr. Bond." Yeah, strokes his cat a bit, tries to shoot him. And
I'm
Yeah,
then-
sorry,
Henry, I'm just
you're
going to
not-
remind you, we do have. This is the guy talking about his number one on our villain ranking.
You're
yeah.
not- you're
This-
not throwing-
But now thinking, reconsidering this, maybe I should put Goldfinger above him. At
You're
the
not. You're not putting like.
I want a
you're not-
Goldfinger first, but
You're not. You're not throwing shade at Blofeld, who's literally like role defining of like.
yeah, he's rolled
Yeah.
a fine
Mega-
spectral as well.
Megalobane.
Listen, we need to decide.
All right, I'm gonna be honest. None of this discussion has changed my original stance. I'm still putting it at third.
Okay.
The 180
And you know, I came into this. I said at the beginning I would put it third, and I'm very close to like. But why would you put it third then, Henry? Above You Only Live Twice. I mean, you've already explained a lot, but
Well,
like,
I have basically.
your final
If I
sort
could
of-
summarize, I mean,
Hmm.
keep in mind, I went into watching this film remembering that I didn't like it. So it actually had it stacked against it, but it really won me over. And the fact that I like, it really gets you on side first thing with the intro. There's no Bond death fake.
yeah.
And you have a much stronger
yeah,
fourth act. You get a much stronger fourth act with Blofeld
Fourth thing.
when he shows up and blows up the whole base and stuff.
Yeah, but that's all sorted in 30 seconds. You'll just run out.
Yeah, but it's cool though.
They just have to
like,
get the fuck out, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
just to
cool.
remind
though.
you. But
And
that's only
there is a
because
kind of a fourth act here as well, where like she is about to kill Bond. It's like, oh,
neither
Yeah,
of them,
but
neither of them
that
have particularly
cheapens
good
her, as
fourth
you
acts,
said,
I'll put
though,
that out
like-
there, because they're all resolved so fast. Like Blofeld's like literally holding an L that he didn't kill Bond at point.
yeah.
He got like
Okay, well,
sniped.
we have majority vote at the end of the day. Tom, you've made your case. The Spy Love Me, I'm sure, will not finish third by the end of this series. But for now, on majority vote, it does go number 1, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Number 2, Goldfinger. Number 3, Spy Love Me. Number 4, You Only Live Twice. Number 5, The Man with the Golden Gun. Which I wrote as the man of the Golden Gun for some reason, so I need to change that. So sorry, Tom, but take some solace in the fact that it won't be there forever. It is what it is, man. The Bond rankings on the Millionth podcast are brutal. So
Yeah, man, I had this with From Russia with Love, So
I'm so surprised you're prepared. You drum up how much you like serious stuff, and then you just go and
I
shove
know,
this
but
above-
we're comparing these two against each other. You Only Live Twice and this film are not serious Bond films.
you put this above
Yeah,
From
true.
Russia with Love, which you
Yeah,
were
but
like
that's you
picking
already
up
put
so
like
much.
you already put like what was it?
Doctor
Something
No,
else
so
you put above. You put You Only Live Twice above From Russia with Love. So I was
yeah, but I'm
automatically
not.
done
I'm
on
not the one pretending that like I care for first and foremost about like serious
that.
dramatic.
No, man. But this is the thing. I wanted to put From Russia with Love above You Only Live Twice. If I had done that, then I would have probably there would have been a competition between this and From Russia with Love. But we didn't get that, so I can't. I prefer Spy Love Me to You Only Live Twice. It's much more close to From Russia with Love and this. So, the fact that your previous rankings has kind of like stuffed what I could possibly do. So
Well, does that mean you like Spy Love Me more than From Russia with Love then?
possibly, but
Surely not.
we won't get. That's not how the rankings have turned out. So I won't ever have to have the
Okay.
discussion on this.
All right, whatever you say.
Okay.
You can always ask me after.
anyway, we could talk about this all night, but we do have to wrap up. So thanks for watching. if you agree with Tom or you agree with us or whatever, like, we'd be interested to hear. Write a comment. But other than that, we'll be back next week for Moonraker, which is one of my favorite Bond films of all time. Like, for sure in my top 3-4 Bond films. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. I think we're all unanimous in that, at least. So.
Well, you'll find out.
Okay. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.